All right, guys. This is it. We're back. I can't believe it. We have breaking every record. Um, how's it going, everyone? Welcome in. Welcome in. How's it going? Thank you. Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Welcome in. Thanks for coming. You're going to be talking a whole lot today. Lots going on. Can't believe that I got laid off, but it's true. Science is definitely under attack, and it is unbelievable. The amount of misinformation out there, people thinking that um, that this isn't happening, or if it's happening, it's only because we're trying to make frogs trans or something idiotic like that. It's just infuriating. So we're going to be talking about it all tonight because I got laid off. So that's what's happening. The whole company got shut down, guys. The whole company, everyone at my site got laid off. So, American jobs, American workers taken away, their jobs taken away. And thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Um, I think a lot of people don't understand that it's impacting the entire science community. The entire science community is being impacted right now. I don't know, Doug. I don't know. It's a really bad question to ask. Basically, I was trying to explain this to people, trying to think about how to explain this to people, and really the best one is kind of the solar voltaics. Solar voltaics got ripped out by Ronald Reagan in the 80s. And between the 80s and the 2000s, the production and everything kind of went over to China, and then China now mass produces all of our solar voltaics, and that's where it kind of got cheaper, and finally it's cheap enough to use in the United States. And if we look at that timeline, the solar voltaic timeline versus now, we got, hey, Dr. T. I mean, that science was impacted and technology was impacted for 45 years. So it's incredibly bad. I think the difference there, hey, Jen, I think the difference there is that solar voltaics was one aspect of science that was impacted, right? One sliver of the technology sector. I think people are underestimating how many aspects of science is being impacted right now. And that's like going to have confounding variables for, we have no idea how long. So it's, we're basically, hey, Jen, good evening. We're basically no longer a player, but the United States doesn't want to be a player in the world anymore. Doesn't want to be a player in trying to fix problems. Doesn't want to be a player in trying to solve things with technology. And Trump wants everyone to be subservient to him. And fascism creates this mechanism where fascists own the truth. They own reality. Nobody else can be right except for the fascist leader. And that's what's happening right now. Science is its own independent truth-seeking mechanism, and that intimidates fascist leaders. So That's why you have the confluence of the billionaires, and you have this autocratic wannabe authoritarian who is trying to whole cloth take in the corporate power structure of the United States and make it subservient to him. And that's why you have billionaires and inside the government. It's much like kind of like the Mussolini style fascism, where these things are engulfed into the government. I'm a microbiology PhD, so it's awful. Trump was also trying to rewrite history. Yeah, anything that he doesn't like, anything that he is that doesn't serve him or that doesn't praise him. Any type of funding right now. He put out a executive order that said that everything that science is funded has to align with his values personally. So he has to go through, and if he doesn't agree with anything, he's going to deny that funding, which is legislative, legislatively approved, congressionally approved funding, and he is now the king of that, basically. So, hey, how's it going? Welcome in.
Hey, how are you? Are you talking about the museum stuff that's
Just
going
like
on?
everything. Well, it's not just the museum; it's science as like an institution and as a complete idea in our society is being completely dismantled right now by an ideological war.
My husband has a display on in one of the museums about him,
Hmm.
and I'm telling you right now, if he messes with that, I even made a post on my thing that he will deal directly with me because my husband has worked his entire life.
Yeah.
And to get in, I mean, that's a big honor when you get brought in and you have a display, and he's in the African American Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you what, I'm like, you go through there because that's one of the museums that supposedly is on the list to be gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a notice. I'm like, I'm warning you. If you mess
By the
with it,
way,
you're messing with me. Like, I will deal with you directly. Like, message to Trump, letting you know right now. Like, this is not a joke. My husband's 62 years old and, no, 64. And, he's worked his entire life, played for Roberta Flack, Shaka Khan,
mm-hmm.
old DC go-go band EU, that old Doing the Butt, the old dance song, they're in
Yeah.
DC, they play in DC. I was born in DC, raised in the DC area. And I'm just like, when I found out about this, and this funny you were talking about it, I just made a post and then I'm
Yeah.
scrolling through it and talking about it. And I'm like,
Nuts.
this is absolutely ridiculous for him to go through because there's people, I mean, legitimately that have, worked their whole life and been honored to get into these kind of things. And if he just doesn't like it, he can just remove it. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just,
It's crazy.
I just had to talk to you about that because I just thought it was ironic you were speaking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick for chat. Stephanie, yeah, my entire company got laid off this week. So it's like a company of like 50 people, all Americans, all no H1Bs. We haven't done H1Bs in 10 years. High paying American jobs. All we were guilty of was trying to make like healthcare, pharmaceuticals cheaper, and that kind of thing. So just like making better products in the United States and actually producing them here. So that was the only thing. Alex Bear, I would love if you got into chat, to voice chat right now. I would probably not recommend it for your own mental health though, but I would love if you do genuinely. So anyway, go ahead, lady. If
Yeah,
you're,
I'm so sorry to hear about that. That's like,
yeah,
you know,
it's honestly unbelievable. I can't believe like it's one of those things that yeah, I don't. I was hoping that like since we weren't connected entirely to the United States, we were connected to like a European company, that we would be okay. And unfortunately, the tariffs got us, and then so it's that too. So it's like these increased science. He's decreased science spending by doing these unconstitutional blocking of bills that he has. So companies are spending less in the United States. and then um, and then on top of that, all of our labor was increased from the tariffs, and then yeah, so it's just there's just and then on top of that, we actually had Russia invading Ukraine, which created 30% increase in the energy costs, and it's just it's just unbelievable. Like there's so many compounding variables that all just came together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So sorry to hear about that. It's just
Thank
there's so
you.
much going on that's falling apart. They think they're fixing a lot of stuff, but they're making so many things fall apart. And they're not addressing what I'm really frustrated about is that I don't see them addressing the issues that pertain to every single one of us, like the basics of things: gas, food, our utility bills,
Yeah.
taxes. I mean, what are you doing addressing our utility bills? You don't even put a cap on these, like Vanguard, BlackRock, that own most of the utility companies that have skyrocketed, and
Mm-hmm.
their profits are insane now. And we are going, like, I had an electric bill over the winter that was like $983, and it's
Mm-hmm.
me and my husband. That's it. I mean, this is just, why aren't you addressing those kind of things?
I think it's
And
because they lied. They're doing exactly what they want to do, and it's your a budget is a. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. The budget is a priority document, and where you put your morals and where the most important things are funded first. And they did exactly what they wanted to do, and they wanted to fund billionaires. They wanted to cut back
yep,
$400 billion of science and infrastructure spending, and they wanted to give that to 70% of which was in Republican states. By the way, this wasn't like the climate change bill, the infrastructure bill that Biden passed. These aren't just like, oh man, we're just making LA better. Like, this is 70% spending within Republican states. And when
yeah,
all those Republican senators and congressmen heard about that, they're like, oh, well, obviously not like our battery mines, right? Our battery warehouses are okay. Nope, they got taken away. So it's disgusting, and they did exactly what they want to do. They want to make us all subservient to these billionaires. And
yep,
if you support Trump and you thought that that he was somehow a going to be supporting technology or any type of American jobs, like, he lied to you. It's
yep.
important for people to realize that he lied to you. Um,
Yeah, he's
it's
lying
awful.
about DC. He's lying. I mean, them saying that DC is so bad and everything. I
Hmm.
was born in DC. I've lived in the DMV area my entire life. I'm 52 years old. My husband plays in DC still. He's in a band, musicians. He's there 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. They play downtown DC on the mall, large crowds. A couple hundred
Yeah.
thousand people sometimes at the events that they play at, and there, you're not afraid to go into DC. Why? They send buses of children into the museums all the time with like one or two people on the bus to watch them, and they're running all over the streets and all this stuff. You understand? It is a complete lie what they've
Yeah.
like pushed through with the media to saying DC to prompt all this. They are lying. I said I am a local resident to DMV my entire life, and this is a lie. I mean, and then they're saying about bringing the homeless people, they're pulling them off the streets and they're sending them out, but they don't let us know where. But I have an
Hmm.
idea, because there's a hub of building that's been going on down in the southern Maryland area, just outskirts of DC.
Hmm.
And I'm sitting here going, so are you sending these people to other states other than DC? Are you keeping them
Yeah.
within DC? Are you sending them to Virginia and Maryland for us to pick up the taxpayers to pick up, footing the bill to pay for these people that are getting uh, waivers for housing, or however you're going to put them up, and we're
Yeah.
going to have to cover the taxes out of us. I want to make sure they're not coming over here to our state. We live in Maryland,
Hmm.
and I mean, is there a way, like, you're not telling us where you're sending them? What I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I think they're hiding the fact of where they're sending them, because I don't think they want the states to be upset to let them know they're not, the amount of people that they're pulling off the streets in this like big bulk way that they're doing it. The shelters cannot hold that amount of people, so
Hmm.
they've got to be outsourcing them to some state
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere.
they already do that to California a lot. I mean, that's where all the Republican states, they just, instead of dealing with their homeless people, they put them on buses to California. So
Yeah,
it's just it's I mean, it's such a joke. I mean, it's such a joke. you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I just wanted to stop in and say hi. That was on
Well,
my
thank you.
mind, and I wasn't talking about it. And I
Yeah,
followed you. It was nice meeting you. And
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
likewise. I hope
Okay.
you're I'm a huge fan of museums and stuff, so I hope your husband's thing stays.
I tell him, I'm like, he's a drummer, and he's so in the African American Museum, a lot in the go-go music in DC, it's the music of DC. Of course, that will probably be stripped away because of this. I guarantee that that is somehow going to be taken, and they play late at night in DC, and I'm like, if they have curfews in place, are they going to allow you to do this music anymore if Trump doesn't like it? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a little bit insane. So we'll find
yeah,
out, I guess.
yeah.
So
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate
thank
you
you.
coming in.
Talk to you later. Bye
All right.
bye.
See ya. Yeah, Alex, it was a company in the private sector, dude. That's the thing. I mean, do all 10 of your brain cells like each get a finger, or do you have to coordinate all 10 brain cells to put one finger on each of the keys when you type? How does someone actually work with such little brain power? Please let me know. I would love to study. This is not the time, guys. This I will like you. You will get we're all about compassion and caring, but I will tell you right now, like if you are trolling in the chat and you don't get into voice, I will ban you tonight. I will absolutely smack you right out of here. Like this is not the time. But man up, guys. If you want to and you think that you're good, I would gladly invite you into voice chat. Jimmy, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Dr. Greg?
Good, man.
I like your jacket. It looks nice.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
So I just kind of wanted to talk about, the state of the Democratic Party in elections post Obama. Just
Okay,
kind of wanted
nice.
to get your thoughts on why they're so horrible at running elections now.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, do you have like a working hypothesis or ideas yet?
Oh, I have my take on it.
Yeah.
I
What
can
are you
explain.
thinking?
I just, I, I actually agree a lot with a lot of what Biden did. I liked his tax code. I thought the child tax credit thing was cool. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always cool with putting cash back in lower middle class pockets. I think
Yeah.
that's good. I like doing that, but I just think that they give Donald Trump so many free wins on so many dumb issues that don't even matter in the grand scheme of things. Like the trans athlete thing, that whole nonsense. I
Yeah.
just think that like they put all their chips on these stupid social issues that don't. There's like what 10 trans athletes in NCAA. Like
Yeah, exactly.
they put
Dude, they
all
were
their
passing
chips.
bills to ban trans athletes when there weren't even trans athletes in the state. It's like it's wild.
But I just think that it's just the way Democrats talk about it is they like let's just keep it real. The majority of of Americans, they don't like that, and they don't even like hearing about having male or trans women playing in women's sports, right? They don't like that.
Yeah, but
But it's
so my
yeah.
hypothesis on this, man, is that like so Kamala Harris never talked about this one time on the campaign trail. Not one time. Never talked about trans issues or trans sports or anything. Exactly. Dr. T is exactly right. It is a disinformation campaign pushed by Russian bots, man. That's exactly what this is. And like these were being absolutely hoodwinked. They're pushing anti-vax conspiracies on people. They're pushing these fake issues of like these trans, athletes. That this is the biggest issue that we care about. When nobody talks about this, man. Nobody talks about it, and they push it. We know about it. We know it was like the Cozy Bear attacks in 2016. The Republican intelligence reports had 1,000 pages of these Russian disinformation ads that they're paid for, and in 2016. There's a 2019 Republican Senate report on it. They all agreed. Marco Rubio was the head of that intelligence committee. He agreed that it was Russian had a huge influence on disinformation campaigns. The FBI knows that they are taking Chat GPT and using basically like, oh, thank you, man. They're using Chat GPT in order to control audience capture media. So basically, you have 10,000 bots all talking about the same issue. It filters up into the media, and the media has to talk about it. So they're creating these issues, and we fall for it, man.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. However, I do think that they definitely could have did a better job at conveying to the American people that this is we're gonna take a stance on this, even though it doesn't matter, because whether we like it or not, people really don't really care about the policy more than they care about the politics. And you have to admit, Donald Trump is very, very good at playing politics. He'll latch on to any little win he can. Like the day I knew when Joe Biden lost the election was when somebody had asked him to to condemn that guy who killed that Lake and Riley girl. Someone asked him to condemn that or whatever, and he wouldn't even like say anything. He was just like staring at her or whatever. And I was just like, oh, that is not going to be good. People are not going to like that. And then Donald Trump, he basically ran on the immigration issues, and he passed the Lake and Riley Act, which was, I don't know, I don't really know the details on that, but I know he ran on that, a lot of that stuff. Basically, I just don't like how they just give him way too many free wins. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I mean, I think the problem with the Democratic Party isn't the wins. It's like they have wins, man. They have huge legislative wins. I mean, the amount of things that Biden passed were truly incredible. Like it was the biggest legislative presidency since LBJ, arguably. It's just that administratively, that is the problem, man. Administratively, they failed. And they failed at keeping their head down, and like what we actually should have done, as opposed to like leftist infighting about like whatever issue of the day du jour is now to trying to divide people. Like imagine Hassan Piker and all these people like pushing the money to be spent instead of like 2 EV stations for the entire thing. Imagine people online and in the Democratic Party actually caring about enacting the bills that we actually pass, and that money actually being spent. So imagine that being the place, not this whole like case edge issue of like maybe Kamala's worse than Trump on Gaza. Nonsense like that, as opposed to actually like having that money be spent, man. And it wasn't. So $400 billion that died on the vine, basically. It's disgusting.
yeah, no, I liked a lot of Joe Biden's, but like the CHIPS Act,
Exactly.
the infrastructure bill, those are all really, really good bills. And I just think it was a shame that Joe Biden, he got old. I mean, it's not a secret. It's a shame he got old. I think he would have been a really, really good candidate in 2016. But like I said, they decided to run Hillary. You know what I mean? I think that was a huge mistake. And I know, what's his name?
Bo
Biden died, and all. But I was reading, I don't know if this was like fake news or something, but that they kind of like pushed Joe out. I don't know if what the validity in that is.
Oh, in 2016?
Yeah, if he was pushed out and they just chose Hillary.
I don't think that like Biden was ever the successor to like Obama's kind of like thing. It was him. Biden was supposed to be kind of like the legislative liaison because Obama was so new. And man, honestly, man, like I think the actual person to blame is actually Obama. I really do. I think that Obama is one of the biggest failures in our entire generation. Like think of the power that Obama has had in the media in order to control narratives versus Trump. and Obama basically comes around every 4 years, does a couple of stadium tours, fills them out, everyone likes it, and then he goes back into the private world and he doesn't say or do anything, and it's disgusting. I mean, and Obama really failed. Dude, I campaigned, volunteered for his campaign in 2008, and like, it makes me sick to my stomach to say this, but it's like he completely failed to use the campaign momentum in 2008 in order to push anything in 2010. You know, like they failed in the House, they failed in there's so much at the state level. They lost seat after seat after seat. It's just insane, man. And you can't come back from that. You just can't come back.
I just wonder what's next. Like, I just don't. I don't know if Gavin Newsom. He's getting better on the like trying to, because Trump won the election off of young male Gen Z voters. Correct? Is that, would you say that's sort of correct?
Dude, it's like a 40-point swap between the Gen Z men and women. But it's like 40 points, like 70-30. It's crazy.
I think where they really messed up this time, because Kamala, she could have went on Joe Rogan, but at the same time, I don't think her going on. Yeah, well, I don't know. I just think he had like so many different, what do you call it, like gigantic outlet, like the Nauk Boys, Joe Rogan. I don't know, and any bunch of other ones, but I know he went on a lot of those different shows, and those shows are majority young people. And then I think she had went on like The View or something. I don't know what it was, but it didn't. I just feel like the people who watch The View, I feel they already have their minds made up. You know what I mean? I feel like people on Joe Rogan. I feel like if she would have went on there, she could have had a chance to maybe convince some other people to because she didn't really talk a whole lot throughout her campaign.
She was doing a lot. I thought her campaigns were fine. I mean, I think her campaign stops and stuff were fine. I mean, again, it was just the view and the altered reality that people live in because of these AI assisted algorithms now. It's a completely different world, man. People live like in 2016, you basically have Facebook filtered feeds where you're a demographic and you get the set amount of ads and stuff based off of who you are. But now you have these AI algorithms that are really learning about you and messing with your head deliberately and force feeding you things that are going to mess with your mind. So you had people that were just scrolling post after post after post after post of Kamala talking about trans issue, and it's just, you can't beat that. Like, there is no way to or podcast interviews that are going to permeate into that space and into those AI algorithms, because they're not going to choose to put that stuff in there.
Yeah, I get all that. I mean, I don't really have the only AI app I have on my phone is, well, I guess every app is AI now, but the only like true AI app I have is ChatGPT. But yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
I mean, the TikTok AI algorithm is AI. It's I don't know. I don't have a way to fix it. It's just an observation. But we have basically these alternate realities that we're all living in, and they're all siloing us, and we have to get away, figure out how to contact people in real life, or a better way of organizing around this, because it's going to be forever. So, all right. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate you hopping on.
Yep.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right. I think there was Steph first, and then Petra, and then Garrett. What's up, Steph? How's it going? I can't hear you. Is that me? Are you there? I can't hear you, Steph. Okay, there's something wrong with your mic. I think that we'll just try it again, okay?
How about now?
There you go. I can hear you. What's up? How's it going?
didn't know I was muted.
That's
I
okay.
switched earphones and everything.
Oh, okay.
I'm good. Uh, so you really don't think Obama did a good job?
So I
That's
think that
shocking to
Obama
me.
is like he passed, the ACA, which was good, but like he wasn't a good politician. So you have to be
I
able
think he was
to
an
like,
amazing politician, and I'm a Republican.
okay, okay, why is he an amazing politician?
I think he can speak better than any president we've had since JFK,
Yeah.
for one. I think he knows how to laugh at himself and
Hmm.
keep it moving and speak to people and meet them where they're at. And right now we have a baboon in the White House that doesn't know how to string a sentence together. And if for no other reason to like Obama, the fact that he saved the average American billions of dollars by getting rid of the pre-existing condition,
Yeah.
when they take that away, because Trump will,
Yeah.
these people that have no idea what that was like will be freaking crying every
It is
day.
crazy. It's crazy to actually tell people that story that you could actually get denied based off of pre-existing conditions if you're,
Yeah, like
yeah,
if you went
it's
to the
wild.
doctor for a hangnail on your first finger and you broke that finger later, they'd be like, "Sorry, that's a pre-existing condition. We,
Exactly.
worked on that finger." But anyway, I think Trump tapped into something primal with
Uh-huh.
insecure people that
For
feel
sure.
disenfranchised and like everybody's coming down on him. And the most incredible thing to me is the mediocre white male that whines about being oppressed and how everybody's
Hmm.
down on him in this world. Fuck you.
So true.
You freaking were born on at least second base if you were born white and male in America. You
I
have
agree.
nothing to bitch about.
I,
And
I
then,
I think
oh, go
I
ahead.
agree with you though. I think that
I'm really
what my
mad.
point is that Obama is he didn't use his ability to command the bully pulpit in order to actually do more. So I think that
I think
he
that
should be more involved,
he
not
got
less.
pushed back. Oh, you mean since his term?
Well, I mean, I think about how since Trump started running for president, he has
Hmm.
commanded all the media the entire time. He's
It's
basically been the president
ridiculous.
the
He's got
entire
a
time.
fucking press conference every day.
Yeah,
And if he's
exactly.
not having, it's ridiculous. Do your job. I don't need to see
Exactly.
your ass on TV every day.
And
I don't need,
how much
and
power,
I'm 56 years old. I've lived through 6 or 7 presidents now.
uh,
I have never in all those years known more than maybe one person on the cabinet's name because you know what? They did their fucking job. They didn't need to go on TV every day and talk about how they were going to do their job
yeah.
and then not do their job. The whole collective cabinet plus Trump's IQ is less than 110.
I mean, I agree with you. But my point is
Yeah.
that the like how much of that percentage time do you think Obama has commanded the same space?
It doesn't matter. Every day that Trump is in office, every day that he does these stupid, idiotic, ranting and raving, weak minded, thin skinned, idiotic press conferences, he improves the Democrats' ability to win. Since he got elected, 90% of every election a Democrat has won since
I mean,
November
like
5th.
down ballot. Yeah.
Yeah, down
Hmm.
ballot.
Hmm.
And so that's not because Trump's out there stomping for those people, for the Republicans. I think he's hurting them more than anything. And I think there's going to be a whole lot of people. I'm real tired of MAGA talking about how you guys are never going to win again. You da, da, da,
Hmm.
da. First of all, I'm a Republican. Let me say that for the millionth time.
Hmm.
But secondly, are they not the same people that were bawling before Trump got elected about how the Democrats have had the White House for the last 16 years, except for 12 of the last 16 years?
Yeah.
They were the same people boo-hooing about that.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that, like, how do you think Obama, do you think that Obama could have more influence on our society?
Oh, probably, but he did his time.
But like he can, just like how Trump commanded the media and had a huge
Mm-hmm.
impact during Biden's administration. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Obama could as well. He's young.
Trump should have
He's
shut
still
his mouth.
super young. He's still
Yeah,
super charismatic. Like I feel like he just kind of fell off, and that was the Democrats' like generational talent, and he didn't do anything with it.
I think Trump always has to be the center of attention. He's been that way since the 80s. And I think that
True.
that is what has, or probably since the 50s, whenever he was fucking born.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he was such a menace in his home and
Mm-hmm.
growing up that his mom made his dad send him away.
Yes.
Mary Trump told that story.
I agree.
But,
I'm not,
and she even said, my son's an idiot. I love my son, but my son's an idiot. That's quoted in the New York Times.
but I feel like you combat Trump by like taking his wind out of his sails by taking the media away from him, the attention away
No,
out
I
from
get what
him.
you're saying now.
So
That may be, but I think that he's manipulative.
mm-hmm.
He's not in this for the people. He has deluded the people. He's done something very incredible. He has convinced low-income, middle-class people that billionaires deserve a bigger tax cut than they do.
It's their most important thing. I didn't see a single sign ever or a Trump speech or anything talking about how tax cuts for billionaires is the most important thing that they could ever pass. And that is the first thing that they ever pass. They will never pass. MAGA people in chat, they will never pass a border bill, any type of immigration legislation, none. They will never do it. Trump has never done that. He never will. They don't care about that. They lied to you guys. Like,
he
deal with that.
manipulated you with that.
Yeah.
Because he knew that he could move the needle by making you dislike immigrants because you think you're better than them.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not. You're not better than them. And let me tell you, you fake Christians, Jesus said,
mm-hmm.
What you do to the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you are doing to me.
Yeah.
And that means that if you slap somebody, you're slapping Jesus. If you pick someone up and put shackles on them, throw them in the back of a van, put them on a plane to El Salvador, and lock them up in a gulag, you are doing that to Jesus.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind how immoral he is and how corrupt he is and
they think he's great.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like so much of the, I don't know. I think it's the superpower that they have, though, that it's like the hypocrisy is a strong suit, where of course they're going to be doing different things because Trump can do the things that we criticize Obama for or Biden for because, well, Trump is better. So, and there's a million examples of that where like Trump is doing the same thing, but like, well, Trump's our good guy. So of course he can do it, and but in their mind, it is. And I mean,
I voted for him in 2016 and he embarrassed and I knew better. Believe me, I knew he was a fraud. I knew that he'd been sued like 4,500 times for simply not paying subcontractors. Yeah. I mean, what kind of businessman does that? I don't even know how he ever got anybody to work for him. But anyway, I did vote for him because I thought, well, maybe, even though he's filed bankruptcy 6 times, maybe he'll have a different outlook on things. Dumbest thing I ever did. And then immediately he started embarrassing me by tweeting all the damn time. Do your job. Your job is not to be on True Social or on Twitter. And stop telling everybody everything.
Yeah.
Keep some shit to yourself, man.
What do you think about like having the president though, like more communicative on just like social media in general?
It's not necessary. That's not what our president is there to do. I don't need my president up all night on True Social, typing in all caps and ending it with, thank you for your attention to this matter.
I agree with you, but the problem is that people associate those with him actually doing things. I mean, what's the big thing with Biden though? Biden was nowhere. Biden was in the hole in the bunker. He wasn't doing anything. Where is Biden? And it's like, well, yeah, he's like doing his job. He's not doing, the stupid the stuff. But I think in a content world and an attention world where everything needs to be
the WWE.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be associated. Your president has to be out there. Otherwise, what is he doing? And I think that's the big problem.
We don't have to be that way. And we need to go back to the way it was.
I don't think that's going to work, though.
We had decorum. We had diplomacy. You might not think so, but I'm telling you right now, politics are supposed to be boring. They're not supposed to be a sporting event. You don't have your team and I don't have, it's not a team thing.
Yeah.
It's not my guy won, your guy lost, and now we're all going to hate each other. That's not the way politics is. Politics is bipartisan. You
I think
cannot
you're
have this divide all the time.
I think you're right, like 20 years ago, and I would love for it to be back there. But at the same time, like, we have to play the game and see what it is now. The Constitution's completely and fundamentally different than what the Constitution was 10 years ago. Like, the amount of like power that the president has compared to all the other branches is exponentially more, and it just is what it is. And the Democrats have to play by the rules that of the actual
Until the
Constitution as it
midterms.
is, and that's what it is. So it's like we can't have separate rules for Democrats and Republicans. Like, the
Well, he
Democrats
would. He
have
wants
to
to.
play. They have to play the same. But thank you
Oh,
so
you
much. We
mean
have a
they need to get dirty? Is that what you mean? They need to be
not
manipulative and
dirty.
mean
That
and
we have to play by the constitutional rules that have been outlined by SCOTUS and everything. We can't, like, people aren't going to accept like a Democratic president that is just really slow, doesn't, like, really plotting step by step by step. They want to see a president do the same things that Trump is doing in the guise of trying to do as much as you can and saying the courts, hey, stop me. I'm going to do all this stuff. You got to
that's
stop
not
me.
what I want in a president. I can't believe that's what you would want in a president.
I don't
I
think
want a
that that's the
president that
original
follows the
goal
rules.
of I don't think that's the
I want a
original goal of the
president that doesn't
Constitution at
break the
all.
emoluments clause every damn day.
I
He
agree
breaks
with
the
you,
emoluments clause every day.
but you have
If
to.
Biden would have done one thing, Hillary Clinton had to give a necklace back because of the emoluments clause.
I agree with you,
A
but you have to play the
necklace.
game that's actually being played. You can't have two separate rules where Republicans can break the rules. Republicans get to do whatever they want, and they don't get to abide by the Constitution, and it's all legal and everything. And then the Democrats, they have to do this slow meandering. They have to do the maze in order to do the most meek and meager thing, and we can barely get anything passed. And that's just not how the world is going to work.
Well,
That's
we
just.
can't get anything passed right now. We're in the minority.
Well, you don't need anyone but the president. That's the whole point, is that because
And
of
that's
Trump, and
scary.
it is scary. And I completely disagree with you. It's unconstitutional, and I totally disagree with
Hmm.
it. I actually, I love the United States Constitution, but I think that it's been completely rewritten by the Roberts
He's
courts,
pissing
and we
on
have
it.
to just we have to play by those games. So, but thank you so
Well,
much. There's
thanks for
30.
letting me vent. Have
Yeah,
a
no
good
problem.
night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Okay, Petra, and then Joker, and then Trino. Hello, how's it going?
Hey, Dr. Greg.
Hey.
Love the show.
Oh, thanks, man.
I just wanted to thank you because I have been advocating for Democrats to start playing by the Republican rules also.
Sure.
Because if you're playing checkers when Republicans are playing chess, you're going to keep losing.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree 110%. I think President Obama wasted a term, trying to get the ACA through. Because there was a lot of time there where he had the House, he had the Senate, he had the presidency, and he could have passed anything he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's crazy. We had 60 in the Senate too. One of them being Lieberman, and who personally killed like the public option and a bunch of other things that were really like would have been huge, progress for us. But it's actually just, it's so sad that the ACA was basically gutted by SCOTUS into really nothing. It really is only the pre-existing conditions that are there, the individual mandate, all that kind of stuff, the Medicaid expansion programs, that's all gone, and it's literally just that you have pre-existing conditions in your healthcare.
well, exactly. I don't think a lot of people understood what the ACA originally was
I
versus
agree.
what it turned out to be after Congress gutted the whole thing. And then I wanted to let you know that if you haven't heard about the book called the Tech Republic, it's actually connected to Palantir, and there's been a lot of talk about Palantir because Palantir's got all these military contracts now that Trump's in office, and they're collectively collecting all the data. They're going into the medical field now. They're collecting everybody's medical field, medical information. So I want to give you a heads up to watch out for Palantir, like Peter Thiel. JD Vance is because I follow all these people on X. Like, I stay inside the conservative space, so I know exactly what they're talking about.
Nice.
Like one of the things a lot of people don't know about is they're planning a MMA match at the White House.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, wait, what? You want an MMA match at the White House? I mean,
I know.
because I haven't heard nobody else talk about it on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there was something else I was going to tell you about.
Yeah, it sucks, dude. I actually am a huge UFC fan. I've been watching it for like over 20 years, and it's so stupid how it's like literally a Trump ad now. He actually gets a longer walkout than the fighters themselves, and he'll have like a full entourage with him with music playing and stuff, and you're like, what is this ad, this free ad that he gets? It's so ridiculous, man. Dude, UFC is awesome, guys. I'm sorry, but like there's nothing more primal and awesome than just locking two dudes or ladies, whatever, in a freaking cage and locking the door. I love it. I'm sorry. I love watching like F1, which is like the pinnacle of technology and sport, and then I love watching just like two people duking it out. I don't know. It is what it is.
Look,
I can't
and
stop
I get that, but look, they're planning on holding a match at the White House.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay, to be honest with you. But I think what's more ridiculous is that he's like installing this entire ballroom thing. Like that's crazy. He totally took the Rose Garden away. He uninstalled it. He's doing all this nonsense. So, yeah.
Did you see how the crypto bros are upset with him? They pulled their support for him because when he did the big beautiful bill and he pushed the regulations through for the stable coins, he did it in the act like for like the other, right, for like Doge and Shiba and all those. So the crypto bros are all flipping out right now and pulled their support from him.
Yeah, I read the bill and it's very weird. I mean, I'm actually a huge fan of like crypto in general. I think that it is a really cool thing. I don't think that the bill, I do think that there has to be some, I like technology. So it's like, of course, I'm like any type of blockchain encryption and way to kind of like understand and create and institutionalize that technology. And because a lot of it is scams.
Absolutely.
You can't have a basically every cryptocurrency is basically like a startup company, and in order to be listed on the NASDAQ or whatever stock exchange, you have to have regulatory requirements. You have to have early earnings reports that you're putting out, everything like that. And to put out a crypto coin that has, it's an obvious rug pull, where the owners own 90% of it. And it's like, you have to have some type of SEC regulation there. It's crazy. So, and having some type of, like, especially stable coins, which are, really, they're supposed to be stable and you can do a lot in the background to kind of like mess with it. It does need regulation.
When they pushed the big beautiful bill through, did they, and I don't know what the crypto bros expected, because I know I was in a couple of their lives and I was listening to them and they were all hyped on this. They're like, we're finally getting regulations. I mean, what were they? I don't know if you ever heard, but I don't know if they were thinking that regulations were going to be passed, that they were going to like stop making these, like you said, the crypto that isn't sustainable. So I don't know what the intention was from the beginning versus why they're upset now.
So Rebecca, you're right. So dude, you're so Kimmy Cakes. You're so annoying, dude. Like, it's I support American companies. That's the whole idea. The company that Trump killed today, it was literally an American company. It was 50 Americans that actually all lived here, that all had jobs here. All we're doing is like trying to make the United States a better place and create U.S. patents, U.S. jobs, and contribute to the U.S. economy. And Trump killed that for all of us. So it's like, I'm literally fighting for the United States. We don't have anyone H-1Bs. We hadn't done an H-1B in 10 years. Like this, it's just nonsense. Like Trump lied to you. So I'm sorry, but it's true. Like it's wild to me that you can actually believe this like fairy tale want to be king on the TV versus I'm an actual person that you could talk to and have an actual conversation with. You could have a real exchange of words and ideas here, but instead you're just spamming the same thing over and over again, not learning. So I muted you, so now you learn by watching and learning. Okay? Jeez, sorry guys. Tonight's the night. I'm freaking spicy tonight, guys. I'm sorry. It's like,
yeah, because I'm a capitalist myself. I mean, I grew up with my family owning businesses, and and I don't necessarily have an issue with the tariffs. I do have an issue. Like I use Grok a lot, and I have conversations. And the thing was, I asked Grok. I said, would it have not been more sustainable for Trump to invest like Biden did in building the factories before implementing the tariffs, so we could actually build our own supplies? Because right now we don't have the ability. Yeah, and Grok even today said that Grok actually said they would not have made any of the decisions Trump has done. They went through Grok redid this whole immigration thing during this conversation I had with it. It came through. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, Grok completely also disagrees with all the tariffs that Trump's done. So
the innovation is going to happen. It's just not going to happen in the United States. Just like how photovoltaic and all that research and when it happened in the late 70s and Reagan took it all out, like all the solar voltaics that were on the White House, we had done a ton of research and development on it. The United States was the world leader in solar voltaic technology in the 1970s. Reagan dismantles the entire industry in the 1980s, and then basically all that shipping, all that manufacturing, all that knowledge goes to China, and then China creates a mass manufacturing creates all that capability and then starts shipping it over to the United States in the early 2000s. And it's finally gotten in the last 10 years where it's getting exponentially cheaper. So what is that? 45 years it took solar voltaics to actually recover from the United States not being a world leader in this space. And we're not doing that just with one solar voltaic, one type of technology. We're doing it for all of science, people. We're divesting from all of science, all the technology companies here. Everything is being divested from. So I'm sorry, like Trump lied to you people. If you actually support Trump, I'm sorry.
I actually think that Trump is trying to sell us out to foreign nations, to foreigners, to be honest.
Yeah, he is. He's selling us out to Saudi Arabia. He's selling us out to China. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and I keep trying to tell people this. I was like, look, Gerald Kushner was associated with the biggest oil refinery in Texas being sold to Saudi Arabia. I was like, literally, Trump is taking American companies and selling it to foreigners.
Yeah.
I mean, so they don't need to build a factory here because they're just buying us up.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Petra. I really appreciate you popping in and requesting, man. If you want, you can request again, and I'm just going to go through the queue. So thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Have a good night.
You too. All right. Paranoid geopolitical joker. I hit accept. There you are. What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, this is all just my personal opinion. I support President Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely despise the political left.
Okay.
Because of C-19, the border, the left's obsession with this homosexual queer agenda, the left allows riots. I want détente with Russia. I support Israel. I think what's happened is postmodernism, the Frankfurt School, Hollywood, MTV has made the left crazy. And I know it's ironic I support Israel, but that's my problem with the left and why I support President Trump.
Okay, did you hear what I was talking about at all? Like with the science defunding and everything like that? Do you have any ideas on that or any thoughts on that?
What with Bobby and the mRNA funding?
No, the fact that like science and technology as an institution is being like ideologically warfared against by the billionaires and Trump, and they're dismantling it, and it's impacting American jobs, Americans that have American manufacturing here, and like you have companies that are going under right now because of Trump specifically. So do you support American jobs?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, me too.
Yeah, but I mean, with the rise of AI,
Okay.
aren't jobs in the next 5 to 10 years going to be much less?
Yeah, but that's not why I lost my job today. So that was because of Trump. So we're talking about that right now.
You lost your job today?
Yeah, I got laid off. My entire company got laid off.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, 50 people, Americans that worked here. No H-1Bs, no immigrants, just all Americans that were just making like products here, science projects, technology, developing that.
But
Is that
you're
okay? Could we do that? Can we do that in the United States? Is that okay with you?
But are you a PhD? Aren't you a
Yep.
professor?
I'm a PhD. Yep. I was a
You're not
professor.
You were a professor. Okay. And you had a private company and
Oh, I'm not the CEO of it. I was a research scientist for it, but yeah, we were making. I was making microbial strains, the yeast strains, in order to make cheaper like pharmaceuticals and stuff. So stuff that your doctor would give you, and like cheaper healthcare. Can we make healthcare cheaper? Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So it seems like we're at odds, aren't we? Where with like what you think Trump is doing and what is actually happening.
I think that look, I'll tell you why I have resentment for the left. Okay.
Let's stick on this. Why are you going popcorning to something else? You're just going to diatribe with like some like ridiculous, like regurgitated, drunken thing that you found on like YouTube. Let's stick on this. Like, why can't you support people like me who have a problem with Trump and what he's doing right now?
Because I despise the left.
Okay, so you despise Americans.
Because of C-19 primarily.
So let's just say it. Just say it. You despise Americans.
No, I do not despise Americans.
Yeah,
no.
We got a whole bunch of us got laid off. The whole company is we were doing nothing but trying to improve our communities, science in general, trying to improve things, and you despise us. Why?
Were you for the protests in the summer of 2020?
So you do despise me. So you despise all these people that are trying to make the world a better place.
Question: Dude,
it's my live. What are you talking about? You're sitting there and you're drunkenly regurgitating things, one word vomit after another, trying to use every single brain cell that you have in order to link a 5-sentence word together. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, the C-19 lockdowns were.
Can you just, is it just word C-19? Word C-19? Is it every other one? Are you like that manatee thing where it's just like you randomly pick things? Is it possible to have a sentence without C-19? Answer the question. What answer? Answer what question? C-19 question? Can you, is it possible for you to have a coherent thought?
Were you for the protests in the summer?
No, we're talking about American jobs right now. We're talking about Americans that have just lost a company that they had worked for 25 years. We are trying to improve your life, make things better for you, make your healthcare costs cheaper. We are trying to improve our communities. And now you are absolutely loving the fact that the entire company just went under. And to rationalize that.
I was sorry. I'm sorry to hear.
No, you're not. No, you're not sorry. You don't know what that word means if you're actually sorry. Because if you were actually sorry, you wouldn't be supporting Trump and what he was doing, and you wouldn't be word vomiting C-19 every single time I try to ask you a question. So rethink what you're trying to say and say it again.
Were you for the protests in the summer?
Oh my gosh, just every sentence. Is it possible? Is it possible for you to actually like have a coherent thought? Is your brain stem actually connected to your mouth or in your body, or are you just floating in a vast nothingness of space?
The C-19 lockdown.
C-19. Okay, it's just unbelievable, dude.
Hard.
You are a collection of undifferentiated human cells that have just not they're a gloop. Actually, I want to study you. I would love to understand how your brain cells work. That's actually incredible. You know that most humans are actually half microbe and half human. If you actually counted every single human cell and every single microbe cell, it would be 1-to-1. But for the first time in scientific history, I do think that you are only a community of microbes, a single-celled group of microbes that I'm actually talking to right now. And I think that is absolutely incredible. You are a fascinating product of evolution. Thank you for existing.
Are trans women women?
Dude, are you a human being? Are you capable of having an intelligent thought? Like, seriously, does every single brain cell like have to work like one after another, or is it just do you have one brain cell for C? Do you have one brain cell for 19? Like, how does it actually work? How does your brain organize the single thought that it has?
In 2020 and
2020, the Black Lives Matter. Exactly. You have no coherent answer for the way that you are writing off entire communities of Americans, and you are loving the fact that these American companies are being roasted and they're losing their jobs, and you love it, but you don't have any way of justifying it. And so all you do is you just regurgitate C19 and Black Lives Matter because that's what's been drilled into you by your stupid AI algorithm apps where you scroll mindlessly, just like you're mindless, uneducated, absolutely brain rot of an inside of your just skull, just rotting on these concepts. C19, Black Lives Matter, C19, Black Lives Matter, trans issues. That's it. Just one after another. Do you drool? Like, do you have to like have another brain cell in order to make sure that your lip is actually coming up so you don't just drool on your phone in order to, so it doesn't actually electrocute itself? Like, is it possible for you to have another coherent thought, a third one? Are you just going to say it again? Say it again.
I think you're
say it again.
You're mentally ill.
Say it again.
You're mentally ill.
I'm mentally ill. You have two thoughts in your brain and you go jump one to another. The only way that you have any possible way of contributing to society is being a typewriter. C19, C19, C19. That is your brain. You are literally a human typewriter, a keyboard of thoughts that has no coherence. You are just there's a C, there is a 1, and there is a 9, and you just face roll between them. C19, 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 C19.
The vax stop transmission?
Oh my gosh, dude! You don't understand how microbes are. You should ask itself. You should ask the microbes that live inside your brain. Are you viruses too? That's a really good question, actually. Are you more virus than you are human? Are you more microbe than you are human? You have to be. This is an incredible feat of science and evolution. And your time's up, dude. I'm sorry. See ya.
Fuck.
God. Next, who's up? Tonight's not the night, guys. Tonight's not the night. I'm telling you, tonight is not the night. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Do it. I'm telling you, please do it. Treno. Hey, Treno, how's it going, bro?
Oh, good. Nope. I've listened to it.
Okay. It's all good, bro. I'm not like that. That's not me. I'm a completely different person right now.
No. I like both sides. I get this, I get that. God damn. I'm not very political about both sides.
Okay.
So, well, I will say after this conversation, what is C19?
Oh, he's talking about COVID-19. So this is like a typical, like, it's an anti-intellectualism thing where people feign that they're smarter than everyone else because they understood more than what was going on, rather than like the millions of scientists that exist in the world. They understand more than us, apparently.
Okay, C9.
Yeah.
It's a TikTok thing.
Yeah, exactly. I hate it. I honestly hate it too.
And that's your choice. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. I call it COVID. I call it SARS-CoV-2. I actually like the actual names, but it's just TikTok. So
that's your thing or their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But how did we come together? That's my thing. How did we come together as people?
Yeah, so I think it's important. This is actually, I think this is a really good point. Genuinely, I think the one thing that I think Democrats need to understand in order to, like, they don't get respect from Republicans by lying dormant and lying as a mat so that they can be taken advantage of. Republicans actually love when Democrats actually stand their ground and actually fight for what they believe in, because it's like watching a UFC fight or something, and one of the guys isn't fighting and he's running away and he's just like putting his hands up. Like, they want you to fight. They want two people that are going at it, and they want to actually see that happen. That guy is going to come back tomorrow and he's going to think it's hilarious and he's going to love it.
What I'm saying is they got 10 minutes, only got 2 or 3 minutes.
Dude, there's like 10 people in the queue now, so I put it down to 5, so it's all good.
Blah, blah, I know. But what I'm saying is, why can't we come together? Like what's that issue? Like, there's certain issues we can fight together for, and a lot of things people, they want us to fight over here, but we're fighting over here together, and that issue, like that distraction. Does that make sense? Like, this makes sense. This makes sense, man. But let's cause this issue over here, and we're like, what about this issue?
I mean, I think that you're right in that it's like a lot of like, we are living in two different realities, right? We have like it's because people live in different AI algorithms. That's why it's so different. You're literally not exposed to the same reality that Republicans are in, or if you're a Democrat and vice versa, you are not exposed to the same reality, and you can't agree on facts if you can't agree on the same reality. So that is the fundamental disconnect.
I don't care about that.
Oh, okay.
Like,
thanks.
I'm
glad you told me.
But we care about the same issues. And
no, I don't think that we do. I don't think that we do.
Aspects we do. We'll fight for the same thing.
Like what? Like what?
Like human rights, like certain things.
Human rights? No, that of course we don't. That's the whole point. We literally have entire fields of science just to study that, like, all humans are equal. And Republicans are like, we have to defund all of public education because you're studying how racism is institutionalized in the United States.
Like, do you think racism is an issue? Like, I served with everybody. Like a race isn't an issue to me.
Okay, like, for you, maybe it sounds like that's a really privileged position for you not to have to care about race, but for a lot of people, it is a big thing, and it's literally a deciding factor on why they're going to jail. And
if you're a good person, you're a good person. It's not your race.
But that's the thing, is that's you're right. Okay, so you're right. Good people can be good people, and the fact is that institutionally, the backdrop of which they live doesn't matter about that. They don't care about that, and they will jail them anyway. And that's the point, man. It's a little bit bigger than that. But we have a lot of people in the queue, so thanks for requesting up. I appreciate you.
What did I say?
Okay. Quick hug box, guys. We'll do a quick hug box and then we'll go back to the rest. Puff Pass. I'm sorry you had to see me like that, bro. I'm sorry. Don't that wasn't the one to send to your fellow teachers. So
Yeah, this is an interesting spot after the last couple guests.
yeah.
What's the topic tonight? Is it just politics in general, or do you
Dude,
want a
I mean,
little bit of like?
I'm down for whatever, bro. I was I just got laid off, so I'm like really fired
I'm
up.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I know, like Noah is another one that got absolutely cut, like when Trump first took office.
Yeah.
And a lot of places are getting hit. I know a couple people in some
Thanks,
marine
guys.
labs
Thank you.
that have been getting laid off because there's no more funding.
Yeah, it's a whole, or the entire institution of science is being attacked. It's an entire ideological warfare. Thank you for the reminder. We're under attack, man. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, so it's all science. It's not even just those government agencies. It's private companies that are related to that. There's instrument companies that sell instruments to that universities. It's when you make things that physically exist in the world, you have instruments that need to be maintained, that need to be created, that need to be shipped, parts need to be made. So that's why, like, San Diego, for example, has so many different biotechs, right? There's hundreds of biotechs because we all need one another. As a molecular biologist, I need like primers within 12 hours. So IDT is a oligosynthesis company right down the road, or where I used to work, and then or my sequencing needs to be done. So that there's an Illumina sequencer that's right down the road from that. So there's a lot of different companies, and when science funding is just halted unconstitutionally by a madman that has to wage an ideological war because he's a small little feckless authoritarian that is insecure about his lack of knowledge and has to lash out against other people trying to better the world in a way that he can't control. He comes after science for a reason, guys. He comes after science for a reason, and it's because we better understand the world and we don't ask for permission. And that's what he hates.
Just look at who he appointed for the Department of Health. I mean, a guy that's concerned about red food coloring and dyes and candy. But then there's measles outbreaks in Texas. Oh, it's not that big of a problem. It happens all the time. Like,
dang, wicked one. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh man, that'd be awful. That would be so bad. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's we had people in here that that got accepted into their PhD programs and they were going to get in, but then their entire place got cut. Their program got cut from 30 people to 2, and they didn't make the cut. We have a lot. Honestly, it's amazing. Actually, we have a lot of professors in here, a lot of postdocs, and people that are all feeling it, man. I was on the private side, so I was like, thought it was a little bit more downstream, but basically it was just I was wrong, and it actually happened. It actually happened yesterday. I'll be honest with you, since it's just me and you, Puff Pass. It actually happened yesterday, and I was, but I couldn't talk about it until today, and then it was just like it really hit me today when there's so many people at that company, man, that have been there for 15, 20, 25 years, trying to just improve the world, man. They're just like, it's not like a normal, like, science jobs don't pay that well. Like, they're not paid the well, we could use our science sense and our technology know-how and apply it in the finance world and could have made way more money, but trying to actually contribute to something that's bigger than ourselves, that we could actually help change the world and try to improve the world and try to fix problems. It's a conscious choice that people go forward with. So honestly, whoever was doing this pharmacial thing, I mean, I would love, optical. My check hasn't come in. I'm down though. If whatever you need, speaking engagements, let me know. Whatever they need. So
what I was also gonna say is, I mean, this has also affected the education side of things too. Every scholarship that I could have had for this credential that I'm working on fulfilling is absolutely cut. So everyone had to pay out of pocket just to be able to, get the hours I'm doing right now. And then they're also trying to cut chemistry. They're trying to cut a lot of science courses. They don't want high schoolers to do it anymore. And so they've tried to cut chemistry out of us, and then they're trying to cut biology basically completely in half. It's mostly just physics now at my school.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, but this was a lot more depressing than I was hoping for. But I hope that
sorry, man.
I hope that things get better.
Yeah.
I'm always rooting for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that. I genuinely, man, I think a lot of it, what I learned is like a lot of, just a lot of fake it till you make it kind of stuff. I don't know. There's not really any.
Oh, I've been faking it. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I got it.
So it's like, it just makes me so sad.
If you need a mod for the chat, just in case there's bots or anything like that, just let me know.
Okay.
And I'm always willing to help.
Yeah, man. I agree. I just feel like it's, I just like the feel and the grittiness of letting them kind of just spout off, and then we can kind of like see it. It's just, I don't know. It reminds me of old internet a little bit, and I like old internet a little bit, like 2000 earlier, like that little the
MySpace era.
2002. People are just not Xbox Live. That's later. We're talking like a little bit.
Yeah, that's 2008.
AOL, yeah, AOL chat rooms. AIM. We're doing like AIM chat. Exactly. Dr. T is on it. Exactly. I had a 3-character AIM screen name, guys. A 3-character. You know how hard a 3-character is to get. I had to trade up in order to get that. That was big. That was big. So anyway, all right, dude. Puff Pass. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the support and everything, man. I really, everyone in chat, you guys are Sheep, Jen, Sleepy, Rebecca, Deucey, Dr. T, Petra. You guys are always in here, and I really do appreciate you guys. And it's a weird time for me in my life for sure, but this is like a new awesome thing that I'm just started, and it brings me a lot of joy, honestly, to be here with you guys and hang out with you guys for real. So let's keep it going. Let's have some fun. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, well,
thanks,
you
Puff
have a
Pass.
good night.
Thanks, man. All right. I forget who was on here first, but I haven't seen a lot. I'm going to go with the people I haven't seen first. Okay. So if that's okay. Stars in the Spiral. That is someone that I want to talk to. Okay. Real quick, Stars. Have any advice for someone having to master out due to cuts? Yeah. That's what I was going to think that would probably happen, Wicked. I mean, honestly, Dr. T, thank you for saying that. Man, I would honestly check to see if they could transfer. I know it sucks, but like the mastering out, unfortunately, doesn't mean much in biotechnology. You really need a PhD. Like there's going to be the same glass ceiling that happens for undergrad that there's going to be for master's students, and you actually really, really want a PhD. So what I would do is I would transfer to some program in the United States that does, or maybe master out and then see if you can get maybe like an international thing. You might be able to finish your PhD out in like an international country. Yeah. Like Stars didn't go. So we'll go to the next one. Sleepy EP Girly. Yo, Sleepy
Hello.
EP, how's it going?
Good. How are you? I know
Good.
unfortunately you're not doing the best because being laid off, but otherwise I hope you're
Yeah.
doing well.
Yeah, I think it's honestly this is the best part of my day, so I'm having fun right now. So
Yeah, like honestly, I don't know. I don't you're older than me. I'm 23. I'm gonna
mhm.
be 24 next month. And I wanted to talk about the level of anti-intellectualism
Yeah.
that I see here, but also from like a perspective of someone who knows European education as
Hmm.
well as an American education systems. And I'm telling you, the lack of critical thinking that we are not endorsing within our schools is insane.
Mhm.
Like, um, little like my mom grew up in she was born in 74, but she grew up during a time in which she was taught in a way where she had to study consistently, and she had to study consistently to the point where not only she had to be prepared for tests, but
Mhm.
she also had to be prepared for understanding the questions in a way in which she had to apply the knowledge accurately. And
Okay.
that's something we lack here in the education system. And like I even like see how bad it impacts people in college.
Mm.
Like especially from someone who when you have your core classes, you see sometimes people struggling to apply knowledge. I literally like the other day, I because I sometimes go on TikTok panels, I literally had to explain basic statistical analysis of how to do a
Yeah.
line of best fit. And I'm not even a statistician.
Yeah.
I don't even have a stats major. I'm literally I'm more like see like for my major it's more applied knowledge, and I think my expertise requires more application of knowledge. For background, I'm forensic science
Okay.
with a biology concentration.
Cool.
So and the amount of people that I see here, even with college degrees, just failing to understand the nuances of statistical analysis, how to accurately look at the credibility of sources, like basic
Yeah.
things that you would even not need in a STEM major. Like the fact that people are not looking into who is like basic things like primary, secondary, third, tertiary sources, as well as like who is the author, what is their purpose, who are they trying to appeal to, what kind of document is this,
Yeah.
like
I
the
think that's
fact that
the biggest thing. Honestly, for me, that is kind of like I think where we can all push is like really read primary sources and like really like if you see a news article about a report, like look up the report and read the report, like don't like let media filter out all the important parts of the things that you would think would be important, because it is a lot different normally. Like the Mueller report, when it came out, I was reading the actual thing. It wasn't that long. It was like 300 pages or something, double spaced, and a lot of the pages were half redacted, and there was even like a 10-page executive summary at the beginning. And then I spent like a couple hours reading through it. And you're just like skimming a lot of it because it's like legal stuff that you don't know the cases of anyway, so it doesn't really take that long. And then you'd go and turn on the TV and nobody is actually talking about it. You have like,
I hate.
it's crazy.
Oh,
The only
I
person
hate
I
it so
will say,
much.
I watched TV, just looking through, just seeing who actually had the best coverage that day. The only person that was actually reading paragraphs from the actual Mueller report was Rachel Maddow, also a PhD, by the way, PhD from Oxford Political Science. So interesting, but it's true.
I literally I hate like how they misrepresent studies
Mm-hmm.
in like the news media, especially American news media,
Yeah.
how they fail to represent the stats. And even when you look into criminal justice statistics, they don't even go into the nuances and how that criminal stats were found, as well as like where did they originate from. Like,
Yeah.
and that's something that I had to do, and like seeing people misrepresent statistics is so infuriating because it's something that we learn in basic math in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the level of education is very like sparse depending on where you are. I grew up in the New England area, So the education for high school, depending like where you are in the district wise in New England, is still going to be far better than what you're getting in the southern state. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, critical thinking is really like the second step, the application of it. And I do think, and I totally agree with you, that it's like it is good. I don't know how to like gamify, like I was thinking about like video games or some way of like trying to teach people like the scientific method, or like trying to figure out how we can better understand and relate these kind of concepts to people without, putting them in a lab or making expensive reagents and stuff. But yeah, it's really tough. It is really tough. I mean, it's unapproachable for a lot of people, and I do think, my hot take on this is like, I do think that people are more well read than we think. It's just that they're reading headlines, so they'll read 1,000 headlines, and in their mind they're doing stats, right? Where they're thinking like, well, I've seen 1,000 headlines of Kamala Harris talking about trans issues. And it's like, well, in actuality, she's never talked about them on the campaign trail, but those headlines are people writing stories about these Russian disinformation pushed, ideas,
Yeah, I understand what
in
you're saying,
clips,
because
so.
as someone who grew up in, like with the internet,
Mm-hmm.
a lot like was something that I really took from my education, because I went to a public middle school, but it was oriented in a way that my public school, you actually had to take an exam to get into.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, so and out of you were basically the best out of the best out of your district. And well, it was not like private school education. My God, my foot fell asleep because I was like sitting and just intently listening. Um, but what I really took from my middle school education, and it really prepared me for not only honors classes but AP classes, because I took I technically took college level classes since freshman year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And the work ethic that was like instilled, as well as like the level, like the level of critical thinking that we're taught, like how
Yeah.
to assess the credibility of sources, and really how to understand like the nuances of like tertiary, secondary, as well as primary sources. I
Yeah.
think that's where we're losing a lot of, like, especially the youth, because instead of them looking at stories and questioning them, they're just utilizing the headlines due to, like you said, the mass amount of information that is like influx in the internet. There's
Yeah.
so much information, there's so much that you can find, but the thing is, how can you find the right information that's actually assessing the issue at hand,
Yeah.
not just glazing it over?
It's tough. It is tough. I love what you said, and I totally agree with you. It's a really interesting idea. I think a lot of it's philosophy. A lot of it's the boring classes that are kind of like, hard to think about, philosophy, critical thinking classes. We got to rethink how we redo education. And like, that's really one of those like generational education
Definitely.
problems that you have to think it. But thank you so much. I appreciate you joining, and welcome to join again if anytime you
Yeah,
want.
of course, anytime. Literally a first time here, so.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for joining the requesting. I appreciate
Have a
you.
good one.
All right. See ya. Okay, so going through guys I haven't seen first, okay? Girly Gnarly, Tony Mac, and then we'll go Francois and Nico. So Girly Gnarly first. Hello, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So just a few things.
Okay.
Like when that person was talking about the American educational system, which, by the way, I think needs to be funded by the
Yeah,
federal system.
true.
There's different strokes for different folks. For instance, like in Maryland, and I grew up in Baltimore, so like I knew about Emmett Till the whole time.
Oh wow.
And I'm 38. and like I was in like 4th grade learning about Emmett Till.
Wow.
So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like there are things that like Trump wants to wipe out that I don't feel is fair to our history at all.
Totally agree. I totally agree with you.
And then they want to complain. They do this thing where they're like, we don't like participation trophies, but then they hate it when we take down statues that were started by the Daughters of the Confederacy in the 60s.
Exactly. People don't realize that they're not like connected to history of the Civil War at all. They're way afterwards. It's insane.
And also, like, we're giving these trophies to traitors.
Yeah, literally.
So, like, these are a lot of things that I'm, like, very much against. It just makes me upset where they're like, don't erase history, but also we're going to erase history from, like, friggin', like, you know, like black soldiers who did stuff during the Civil War when
Exactly.
they shouldn't have been made to do that.
Yeah. I mean, how
And then
isn't that wild how like everything is just a projection, you know? And I don't know how to do that myself. I guess I'm not like conniving or something. Like how do we as like anti-Trump people or basically anti-fascists, let's be real, like we need a coalition of just anti-fascists because that, I mean, isn't that obvious like what we're dealing with right now? And I don't know how we have how we use that to our advantage, like this projection thing. It's of our worst traits. Like how do we project that? You know what I mean?
So I think one of the best things to use towards them is like, you don't like participation trophies, but you don't want those statues. So like it's a silly one, but it's not a silly one. You know, it's like a fascinating one.
Yeah.
And then
I really think honestly, it kind of made me mad when Walls kind of like stumbled onto that whole like MAGA is just weird, and they are very weird. I think that literally was so good, and apparently I don't know, this is like a rumor or like through the grapevine or something that like basically it was the Harris campaign that said like, let's tamper that down. We want to be more productive or something. So they literally had, I feel like their own little thing that they could have, pushed, but they are just so weird. I don't know what it is.
Exactly. Well, you know, and like, again, release the Epstein files, do it.
Sure.
And I don't care who's on the list. Bill Clinton, sayonara, sucker. Like, bye. So there's that whole thing. And that, as a survivor of things that happen to me, is like, please, like, everyone on the list.
Dude, did you see the Hunter Biden 5-hour like Channel 5 interview that he did?
No.
Oh my dude, Hunter Biden is awesome. Like legitimately, he is hilarious. He's funny. He's smart. He's like,
I know
couldn't
he
believe
is,
it.
But hey, can you send it to me?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You just put like Hunter Biden Channel 5. And it's like you'll pop up. It's like the first one's like 3.5 hours, and then the second one is like 1.5 hours. And it's like, I mean, obviously I've listened to it over like a week, you know, and it was just awesome. Like he's just really articulate, really has like an interesting vision of the United States and like, you know, what our Constitution is. And I don't know, it was just cool, you know, and I feel like he's actually, it actually really frustrates me. And I think that this is why actually they really had a big thing with his substance abuse problem, because that is an issue that relates so much of America. If the Joe Biden family having to deal with someone in their house with substance abuse and living with that, and care and recovery and all that kind of stuff, that would have made him so much more relatable. And I think that there was a big political, again, as a political win for them, that they were able to undermine him and really push him out, and instead of allowing him to like have any type of compassion. So
Can we
go ahead.
Can we talk just for a couple more whatever?
Yeah, whatever.
I think they squandered that opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to talk about the C-19 thing, because my partner was in vaccines for a long time, and there's no evidence of any of the RFK, rhetoric that's going on. And so, even if you and I can just push that for a moment, like the fact that the brainworm dude is trying to tell us that, he also said that opiates pushed him off, and that made him better at reading or whatever he said. Like, these are very problematic things. I'm just, I think the reason we're reaching out is because I'm really worried about the fact that we have all these people that Trump is appointing that have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for bringing back to science. Sorry.
Yeah, when you were talking about that.
The COVID vaccine was the most efficient and highest efficacy vaccine that we've ever had. 95% efficacy, when most flu vaccines are 60 to 70%. There's no evidence to say that there's any type of vast high rates of vaccine injury. It's completely false. All the things about myocarditis and all that kind of stuff, like one, myocarditis is temporary, and two, it's actually even worse if with actual coronavirus infections. So if you're worried about any type of problems with the spike protein, it's going to be the viral load from an actual SARS-CoV-2 infection is going to be way worse for you.
Yeah.
So even people that are have any type of immune compromise and all that kind of stuff, it actually they will they'll still take the COVID-19 because it's a pandemic.
Yeah, and I'm immunocompromised, and I wear my mask everywhere, and it's me and a bunch of old people in Baltimore wearing our masks around, but I still do it because it's just, I can't risk, and I don't want to risk them, and even though my cough is because I love hazel or basil or whatever you say, you know what I mean? But so there's this thing where I'm just not putting anyone at risk, and vice versa. So
I mean, I'm sorry that we are not taking it more seriously as a culture. I think that it's good to still. It is still a pandemic. It is still good to mask. Masking is very effective. KF94, N95 masks are very good. They're not going to be 100%, but no stopgap procedure is going to be 100%, and you just kind of layer those protective measures together to get the best that you can be. And anyone that tells you that masks are not effective is wrong. Or if you're not, that COVID is over, they're wrong. I'm totally okay to do that in the right, and you're actually looking out for other people too. So you're actually you're compassionate. So.
Well, I appreciate you, and also I'm washing my hands more than anyone's ever told me to do it.
Nice.
And that's the other thing is reminders to the chat: wash your friggin' hands. Please wash your hands. If you don't want a mask, whatever. Wash your hands.
Yeah.
When you get home from the store, Wash your hands. Please do it.
Yeah, I just have like a little thing of like an ethanol, like a little pump thing that I just kind of like go and right in my car, as soon as I get in. And so then it's just like not like transmitting it from into my car and on the steering wheel and all that kind of stuff. And you can actually there's one with, it's disinfectant and hand lotion all in one. So I use that one because I have dry skin sometimes. So especially like, cause I can have like gloves on and stuff like that. It like dries out your skin. So anyway, I'll just put some,
Dr. Greg, you're awesome for saying this because I do all the same things. So thank you. Thank you.
Good. Well, I'm happy we're on the same page. Thank you for being you and being strong. And it's strength. What you're doing is strength. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And spread the good word.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you for requesting. I appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So Francois, and then we'll do a Rocky. Or sorry. Tony Mac, Francois, and then Rocky. Sorry, Nico. Sorry, you're being pushed to the bottom, bro. I'm sorry, but they're the treat, I guess. So Tony Mac, how's it going, dude? Hey, man, how's it going?
Going good. How are you, man?
Good, man. Good.
I requested when your face got red and you were filibustering that one guy that wouldn't stop talking about COVID.
Oh, yeah. That was me. That was me.
I told my wife I wanted to make his day feel better, so I was just going to tell him a science joke. So I'm just going to tell you a science joke, and then I'm going to go. I don't even need a 5-minute timer.
Okay, cool.
This photon checks into a hotel, and the bellhop says, "Excuse me, sir, can I take your luggage?" And the photon says, "No, thanks, I'm traveling light."
That's good. Nice. That's really good.
I really do have to go, though, because I've been sitting out on my porch listening and my battery's dead. So you guys have a good night.
Cool. Thanks, man. Thank you for hopping in. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Stay happy and don't let those kinds of people get to you, dude. This channel's great.
Oh, thank you, dude. I thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Truly. Thank you.
Yeah,
awesome.
Have a good night.
You too, man. Dude, thank you guys. You guys are everyone's being so supportive tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. I really do. So, all right, Francois. Francois accepted. We coming in. What's up, dude? How's it going?
What's up, Greg?
Yo,
honestly, this channel became really political because I'm French. I speak French, so excuse my accent, but it's really so you don't like Trump, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. I agree.
But but why? Like he's not a dumbest president. Like Biden was out of there. Like why do you hate him so much?
I mean, okay. Are you French? Are you living in France right now, or?
Well, yes. Let's say yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to dox you. I'm just trying to see kind of where we're at.
Je parle très français. Je suis français. J'ai un accent français. Je parle français. Je suis français. Mais le truc, c'est qu'on ne sait pas qu'est-ce qu'il y a avec Trump. Là, vous l'aimez pas, mais je comprends pas vraiment qu'est-ce qui se passe. Okay, you didn't understand nothing out of this,
dude,
right?
Just like speaking French at me when you know that I don't speak French is the most French thing that you could possibly do. Get out of here, bro. What are you doing? Are you out of your mind? Like, what are you thinking? I don't bro is reading my chat in my live. What is he doing? Are you here to ask to talk to me or what, dude? Like, what are you thinking? Come on, bro. Like, what are you thinking? That is so French. That is so French. Okay. Okay, guys. Like that. If you, it's fine. I was totally down to have that conversation. If you don't live in the United States and you don't understand what's happening, then it's like then that's totally fine. But like, ask questions and like have a dialogue with me. Don't like sit there and tell me that I'm wrong, or like that doesn't make any sense. Or especially don't talk to me in another language that I don't understand. Like, just speak to people in the chat. You know, it's like you don't have to be in voice chat. Rocky, you were talking about the PCR test for COVID. So I'm really excited to talk to you about primer design and efficacy, and we're going to talk about efficiency of qPCR primers and everything. So I can't wait. Yeah, I can hear you. So how many qPCR primers have you designed in your life?
Well, that's all just hogwash.
Yeah, that's it. So are nucleotides hogwash? Or nucleotides hogwash? Is your DNA hogwash?
No.
Okay, so then how do you amplify DNA?
No, I'm talking about.
How do you amplify DNA? Test, right? That's what we're doing. Test. That's how they test. That's what the qPCR is. I'm explaining it to you. So how do you design a primer?
Well, that's not my field.
Yeah, exactly. It's my field. Wow, crazy. You know what? You're in for the night, because guess what, dude? I have actually designed qPCR primers for a living for 16 years. You're so lucky.
Whatever.
So why don't you ask me some questions on how we know qPCR tests are real? I'm excited. What do you want? What do you want to know?
Okay, so why after 2022 and 23, after the endless lines of testing that were done before the elections and after a little bit, after the fact, they said on the news, I lived in Utah, a red state. My local news said the test is bogus. It's unreliable.
Damn.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Damn.
After all
that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm so happy you
know. I'm telling you the truth, dude.
Dude, that's crazy. 1 second. I got some calls I gotta make. Drew, I gotta call. I gotta call my boss. Like I did like qPCR tests today, and like I don't know what I did. So I don't know, like, are those amplicons? Like, where did they come from? Like, I have to make a call. You don't understand. Like this changes everything. So it's like, wow.
So you can test even animals at the zoo, lions, because they reported that too. They said that a lion.
Bro, you can amplify any piece of DNA. That's the whole point of qPCR. You can just amplify anything.
A lion at the zoo?
Does a lion have DNA in it?
It's not a human.
Does a lion have DNA?
Is that a difference?
Does a lion have DNA?
Are we lions?
Are you?
I'm not a doctor.
Does a lion have DNA? So yes, you could amplify the DNA.
He does.
Yes.
Well, that's just. Well, I just want to talk about how corrupt the test is.
Oh, okay.
This,
that makes total sense, because corruption.
It was all bull. It was all,
okay.
It was all just bogus.
All right.
It was all
good for you to know.
Good. When they started, remember when
you didn't even know what a primer is, and you're going to tell and talk about the qPCR is completely fake. You don't even know what it is. You have no idea. You've never even done anything. How would you test and make sure that the qPCR is actually giving legitimate results? Do you even know? Do you even know what you would do? You don't. You have no idea what you're doing. Do you have any?
Why do people get sick when they get the flu shot?
Because that's your immune response. That's your immune system creating like a reaction to the virus, and that's where the antibodies comes from.
Oh my God!
You think that's vaccine injury?
No, I think it's all bullshit.
Oh, okay. So, okay. All right. It's all bullshit then. Wow. But it's very, I think all okay.
You're brainwashed, dude.
I think I have independent tests. I think I have primers. I think I have nucleotides. I think I have all these independent tests in order to figure out what it is. And I don't need you to tell me what it is or that I'm doing or not, because I actually have a way to figure things out. That's really nice, because I don't rely on you.
Dr. Fauci made billions, didn't he? He made a lot of money.
Oh, But you're going to complain about Fauci making billions? What's Trump coin? What's the Qatari jet that Trump is getting for free? What is that? Are you just guzzling? Are you okay? Do you need knee pads? Do you keep your knee pads on all the time for Trump, or do you just constantly walk around with your tongue out? Do you keep your tongue inside ever, or is it just constantly out drooling, just waiting in order to let Trump into your mouth? How does that work? Are you okay? Does he like the reach around? Does he go? Does it one or two fingers in the back? Like, so tell me, well, how does he like it? How does it? Oh, does he like the tongue? That's what it is. So you like to go back. So does he spin? Does he spin, or do you spin? Because it looks like you would love to go back and forth. I think that you're spinning around on him.
Okay.
Is that right?
If this virus is real, why am I alive?
Is that yeah? You are married. You are married to something. You're married to your knee pads. That's what you're married to.
Why am I alive, dude? Huh?
Why am I alive? I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Okay.
You know, what a cruel world. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you are, though. Thank you. Thank you for disseminating all your knowledge on us, where you are actually somehow figuring out what anything is, and you're filibustering and trying to figure out, oh, how do these things work? Oh, it's all bullshit, dude. It's all bullshit. It's all wow. That's such a really good way of like contributing to the world, dude. No one would have come up with that without you. You're just you're incredibly good.
Dude.
I'm weak-minded.
You believe the bullshit of 9/11.
Oh, 9/11? Are we going back to 9/11 now?
You believed all that shit, didn't you?
Oh my gosh. Amazing, dude. Every conspiracy was with you. What is it?
JFK.
Do you have
what about JFK?
Yeah, JFK. Are you serious? You're just going to go to every conspiracy now, just one after another?
Well,
you're going to popcorn in? You're going to popcorn in? Is that do you have a brain cell for every conspiracy, or is your one brain cell just wrapped all in between them? Is it like a rat's nest in your brain? How does that work?
God.
How does that work?
You just yeah.
Yeah. Get out of here,
you're
dude.
You're just a Dr. Who. You're
Tonight's not the night, guys. Tonight's not the night for these people. I'm sorry. Like I'm the compassion stream is every other night. You know what I mean? We try here. We are a loving community. Okay. We compassion and kindness for people, walking through them, letting people get the chance to really understand. But it's not tonight. It's not tonight. So it's not tonight, guys. That's not tonight. Nico, what's up, brother? Thanks, brother. Dude. Thanks for waiting.
Dude, when you call that guy a pile of undifferentiated cells, it hurt. I felt it, but good thing he didn't know what it meant. So I think he's fine. But yeah. Brutal. And then this guy, I think, were you outlining an oil check? That was
I guess so. Yeah.
Wow. I guess sorry about the news though. I mean, that sucks.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's
always I think it's like I started wanting to say congrats to people because I feel like it's a good opportunity to, like reinvent, or just like shift momentum or reinvent yourself, and then also the best vacations I've learned are between jobs when you don't have anything lined up. Mm-hmm. So, let your mind loose and stuff.
Yeah, man. It sucks, dude. Like, cause I'm guys, I really do like bench science. I move small amounts of liquid from one tube to the other. That's like literally my job. And, that is people that actually do the wet lab stuff and design the experiments and do the controls and all that kind of stuff. I've been doing that for 16 years. So it's been, to your point, Nico, dude, for real, I'm tired. I actually have a repetitive strain injury in my right thumb from pipetting so much. So like I literally, my right wrist like hurts a little bit, when I like pipette for long periods of time. And I've been doing it for 16 years. So, and mostly, by the way, PCR and qPCR, that's basically what I do. That is literally what my thing is. As a molecular biologist, that's kind of like your hammer and your nail. So I'm actually, I'm going to be trying to transition more to like patent law and the IP
nice.
space.
Oh, yeah.
So try to, pass the patent bar here in the next 60 days. Hi.
Dude,
And
that's amazing. Oh my God, bro. That's like that's an awesome plan.
Yeah.
Especially
So then
in the AI era, that's going to be huge, dude.
Yeah. So, my goal is to use. I got honestly really lucky. Like I got 60 days to basically get paid, and I can go in however much I want. Or it's basically they're giving us like resources, and they're giving us like resume building, interview tips, all that kind of stuff. So it's like I don't really need that as much, so I'm going to be using this time in order to study. So the US Patent Office is basically the only US government agency that makes you pass an exam in order to interact with it. So basically the patent bar is the test that you pass in order to submit patents to the US Patent Office. And basically I'd be working with scientists and understanding what they do, and then writing that into like a technical report, and then eventually a patent, and then submitting that to the US Patent Office.
Yeah.
If I needed to defend that patent against like another company or something, then you would have to escalate to a patent attorney, and the patent attorney's gone to law school and then pass the bar. So eventually, maybe, hopefully, I pass the patent bar, become a patent agent, and then that is when I can go finally to get paid to go to law school, because I can go to like part-time at night. So that's my
awesome.
that's my like 5-10 year plan right now, because I was hoping at this job I would basically have the ability to kind of like get into like a senior scientist position. I'm a scientist 3. So it's like, It was actually pretty high. Like I got hired in as a scientist 3, which is pretty good, but it's,
are there 5 levels total?
I think the one above me would be like a senior scientist, and then like a project team lead. So it's a little bit different, but, so I was hoping to get like 1 or 2 promotions. So at least I could be saying I led like a team as a scientist. I have led like undergrads and stuff during grad school. So it was, I have done research at the head of a team, but, it's a little bit different when you're at the project lead stage, and that just didn't materialize. So I don't have that. I've only been there for like a year and a half. So, it's actually kind of depressing. I had like my career hunt 2024 workbook that I had all my columns and sheets all set up, and I just 2024 backspace 25, let's go. So, no, I don't know Reset Coach. I don't know. You could, I could look into that later, but I think,
I'll have to unmessage my friend. She's at Scripps, and I told her she's ex-Kiesling and she's looking for a staff scientist.
Oh, really?
And I told her, hey, are you still looking for someone? But,
no, I'm down.
If you're down,
yeah, for sure. No, that's the thing, is that like I don't know the timeline on a lot of this stuff. So I'm just basically pushing on all doors, man. So I'm applying to all jobs. I'm applying to all the jobs. And doing the patent agent, because I don't know if I pass the patent bar, how long that's going to be. So that's kind of like a big problem. So
I will warn you though, she's ex-Kiesling. These Kiesling people think you can like save the world with precision fermentation. So
Kiesling's awesome, man. He's one of my, as a microbiologist, I love him. I mean, his cannabinoid yeast paper was huge. That was a cool one. But yeah, that's a legit lab. So that is very cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've worked with patent lawyers. I filed 5 patents. And they're like the smartest people you'll ever meet, right? They like know so much about, like, so much deep knowledge about so many different areas of science. So very cool.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of one of my strengths, I think, is that my background is really interdisciplinary. I went from like algae biofuels to land plant genetics to yeast molecular biology to yeast genetics to CRISPR genome engineering to next generation sequencing to chemical engineering, nanoparticles to interfacing those together for my PhD research. And then I did yeast host development. So I've actually popcorned around like a lot of different fields within molecular biology and genetics and in genomics. So I think that like the patent agents kind of stuff actually gives me kind of like a unique ability to kind of like be in a lot of different areas. I mean, kind of like what we were talking about before, bro. Like I'll go to a molecular biology like seminar and I'll be like, dude, this guy is like legit. Like this is an actual molecular biologist. Like I do not deserve to call myself a molecular biologist, but it's kind of like the easiest way to explain it to lay people kind of thing. So, but yeah, dude, it's cool.
Yeah, there's also like this component too where a lot of patent law is strategy. Like when you build a portfolio, it's like how do you build your strategy? And there's like broad patents and then there's like really deep like compositional patents, and there's like a way to build it such that you kind of you want to protect the IP in layers is what I've been told. Like you have like very like strong patents but also kind of weak patents, and they kind of get more ambiguous, but you kind of create like a minefield to where if anyone is kind of infringing or trying to play in your space, you're covered. But very cool, man. Excited. Yeah, that's exciting.
So I got 60 days to pass the patent bar, and I'm like already got the course and everything. So I've like started studying already, and it happened yesterday officially. Today I can like talk about it publicly, and then
Did they have good like severance and all that stuff? Like
I basically got like 60 days here where they don't really require me to do any lab work, and they're basically allowing me to kind of like to do what I ever need to do in order to be in the best place I can be in for the next step. So
that's dope.
Yeah,
that's
so
nice.
I kind of have like 60 days here plus, and then they gave me 2 weeks severance pay, and I've only been there for a year, so I didn't get the like per year like big check that other people are getting. And then I got our yearly bonus, which is like the biggest one since 2021. So every other year hasn't been full, so that's going to be helping. So
wow, dude, moving out of the lab. Yeah, I remember once there was this like tiny drop in a little vial, and I accidentally pushed air out of the pipette, and it blew the drop like out of the vial. And I made a grad student cry accidentally. I didn't know that it was such a precious thing, but these volumes are so ridiculously small sometimes that if you do anything wrong, it's gone.
Yeah, dude, living my life 1 microliter at a time, bro, for sure. But hey, there's someone else here. I'll get him in, and then anyone else is able to request if this guy, who is this guy? What is his name? Rocky, get back in here, bro. Try again.
I don't know if I can handle Rocky. I'll let you do Rocky.
All right, bro. No, I wouldn't put you through that, but anyway. Anyway, okay, I got Michael up next. All right, thanks, man.
Yeah. Right on, man. See ya.
See ya. All right, Michael. What's up, dude? How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Good.
New viewer.
Nice.
I actually like it's kind of interesting. The subject and where your profession is. My ex-wife is actually, I guess, in microbiology. So,
cool.
She's in charge of a couple of. She's a part of, it's called the Bar Shop Institute here in where I live, which they do aging and longevity research.
Okay.
And so she, I was always interested in hearing, but she worked so many hours that she just never wanted to talk about it. It's like, please, I want to hear it. It's interesting to me, especially science. I wasn't a science person, back in school and things like that. But, I like to hear, what you're talking about. And I know you were the other gentleman that was talking about well, how come I'm not how come I'm not sick? How come I'm still here? About the flu. And it's like, well, if you understand things and all you have to do is just Google it, especially now with AI, everybody knows who does the flu shots, that the flu, that it's actually just a little bit of flu, the itself, that, and that's why you get a little bit sick, and then, it's supposed to help you, fight, your immune system to fight the actual, flu virus itself. Exactly. And that's something he probably could have learned himself if he would have, just used his computer for more positive things other than what he was doing. And as well, hitting on the C19, I guess we'll call it C19 since you're not supposed to use the other words.
Oh, you can use COVID. It's okay. This is a science stream. It's COVID's totally fine. Okay. It's all good. Okay.
So, I actually knew a nurse here, where I live as well, who actually used to work the COVID-19 area of the of the hospital. She volunteered, especially when it was in full effect back then. Very brave. And she ended up catching it, and so she was out of work for maybe a couple of weeks, but she said it was pretty serious and things. But the thing that was interesting is she told me, of course, because we're here in Texas, it's like, we had, certain type of medicines, pharmaceuticals and things that were actually helping fighting, the COVID virus.
Nice.
But it was expensive, but the governor refused to give them the money that they needed, for those medications to help people. So people were just dying without, and you see a lot of the things that or I guess you should say unalive. You're not supposed to say, dying, but, things like that. It's tragic. We already see, where, our Governor Abbott, refuses to do a lot of things. And, it kind of, it's just something one after the other that you see that kind of gets upsetting. When people can be helped, but he refuses because he's more beholden to the millionaires and billionaires that put money in his pocket instead of helping the citizens of our state here, which is kind of upsetting. And then just one real quick, and then I'll go ahead and get back to listening. But just our education system in our country, I think, there's a reason I think that we're behind. And then now you have all the, like yourselves and other people that are in science and research and development and things like that, with the president now that he's pulling funding and kicking everybody out, we're going to be even further behind now, when it comes to competing with the Europeans, the Germans, who are really big with, I think with science and development. And of course you have, China with, their tech and everything, even though they're, a communist country, they have a one education system. So everybody learns everything the same. And here in the States, you have everything's left up to every state to, form their own education system. And I think that's wrong. I think everybody should learn the same thing because, now here we are, it's 2025 and you have, things are to be competitive, you have to have, like you were talking about a lot, you have to have a degree now, especially in those types of things, whether it's medicine and tech and things like that. And I think we're just going to keep falling more behind more than ever, when it comes to stuff like that. I think it's just sad. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like the problem is like Alabama or Texas as an individual state, they aren't able to compete against India, right? They aren't able to compete against China. So it really is contingent on the entire United States to like come together in order to fund education and make sure that everyone is up to snuff. Because like, for example, you can't work at a biotechnology company and not accept like evolution is real because you're going to be using evolution a lot. Evolution is how you make a lot of strains. It's how you make new bacteria, all that kind of stuff. So like if you don't understand it as a process or you don't think that it's real because that's what's been taught to you, like you're not just far behind in Alabama, you're far behind the world, and you are far behind, like, and you're bringing everyone down. So it's very, very, very important to make sure that everyone is doing well. And it's like, you're right. I mean, what's happening is that Trump is lied to people and said that all these companies are going to be coming here in order to make jobs and stuff happening here. But guess what? Like, that he lied to you and the Trump supporters in chat. They're not doing that. The companies, there's so much uncertainty now, and all the tech companies are having their funding taken away through grants. And if it's not them directly, it's companies that are indirectly related to them, because these companies are built out into a community. And when you start taking down like half of the house of cards, it just all falls. And these are American jobs. These are American companies. These are American patents that are being impacted. And it's because he's lied to people. And it's really contingent now. Like, do the Trump supporters listen to Americans and their fellow Americans that have no financial bearing on it, right? That don't profit on American jobs and American companies going out of business. We are hurt by it, versus the billionaires that do like it. They do like when the American companies go out of business, because that gives them IP and space for them themselves in order to parasitically and like a vulture take and rebuild and make it their own. So, and they're not going to make it again in the same image. Like the company that just laid off everyone today or yesterday, some billionaire could like buy off the IP and then sell it to another company or sell it to another country. He's not going to just create another company and all those jobs aren't going to be there. And that's like, and also let's say that he did. Okay. Let's say if it is wholesale, right? Let's say it's a 1-to-1 replacement, right? It's not going to be immediate. That's strife. That's problems. That's economic uncertainty for families, American kids. Like, that's awful. That is not how we should be running our country, even if that is what's happening. And it's not. So we have to people need to listen to their fellow Americans in order to not be subservient to these wannabe autocrats and these billionaires, man.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. And then just one last thing. So I was in real estate a long while back. So I used to deal with a lot of military people that would transfer into my city. Mm-hmm. And of course I used to do my own little scientific study type of thing. So those that were moving from blue states, so when they would come in, I'd always talk to their children that were, elementary, junior high, high school. And hey, how do you like the school down here? And a lot of them would get these big smirks on their face, because when they would transfer in from other states, they would have to test to see where they would be placed. Just because they said they're in the 5th grade or the 12th grade or whatever, they didn't start there. So whenever they would test out to see where they would place them, for some reason, I'd ask them, what state did you come from? It seemed like all the kids, that were coming from blue states into Texas or red state, that they would be tested into, 2 or 3, grades above where they came from. I actually had one that skipped all the way from the 6th grade tested, and next thing you know, she's a freshman in high school.
Oh, geez.
Yes. And so that's how horrible, Texas, and unfortunately, I guess in a way, unfortunately, but fortunately, I do have a Texas education, but I read myself. I do a lot of reading. I have some college, but I, not college educated. I prefer, smarter women, because I like to talk and I want to hear about, whatever line of business they're in and things like that. So that's why I like my wife, because I always wanted to hear, the scientific part. And I think it's pretty important, and, for things like that. And I wish there were more people that wouldn't rely on, like you said as well, because I I hear a lot of different, opinions and things from all the different little discussions and things. And yes, there are a lot of people in the, Texas is a southern state, but we're not deep South. Deep South I think, is really in trouble, when it comes to education and everything. And they have a different mindset compared to everybody else. And it's more, I guess, as well, it's more about themselves. They're more concerned about single issues for themselves, like, well, whether it's BC or the other types of issues. Well, I don't need that because I plan on having kids, or I don't need that because I'm too old, or I don't. And so there's single issues that they are more concerned about themselves and not about the community and what's best for everybody around them. And I think that's probably kind of the worst thing as well, is what kind of brings everything down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you, man. That's a really good point. Well, thank you. Alrighty. Thank you for requesting, man. I appreciate you jumping on. So thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do Spencer and then Joe. Spencer Moore, what's up, dude?
What's up, your favorite Republican?
Oh, there's so many of you. It's hard to remember.
We talked. I was a guy that was kind of not a big fan of the jab, except I was really excited about the.
You're blurring together. To be honest with you, there's a lot of them. But
well, we spoke the other night.
Okay, all good.
I was just playing. Excited.
I'm just playing.
Oh, okay. We kind of were touching on CRISPR, but we kind of ended before. And so I've been refraining.
Okay, I remember you now. I do.
I've been kind of refraining from digging into it because I don't want to just totally get off track.
Okay.
So a few questions. All right. So I have a very, 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 very early baby understanding of it. So kind of to my understanding, it's okay, you take a segment, you ninja chop it, and then before it copies from the other strand, you you insert this segment. Is that kind of the right for CRISPR gene editing?
Yeah. I mean, so basically, CRISPR-Cas9 is a way that a bacteria can defend itself by chopping a piece of DNA. And once you recognize that piece of the DNA sequence, the Cas9 will just chop it just like that, and you'll split the DNA. And once the piece of DNA is split into two, there's two routes that it can take. So it can take non-homologous end joining and homologous recombination. So non-homologous end joining is just what happens in your cell, a lot of times because double-stranded breaks happen all the time. So basically what happens is that non-homologous end joining is hey, there's a piece of DNA, we're just going to put them together. And the cell just doesn't check to see if they actually align or if they're homologously checking. But that actually doesn't normally make that big of a difference, because it's kind of just easier if it just replicates, and in the end it'll kind of be checked in the future, so we can kind of not have to worry about that. Homologous recombination is a smaller, usually in eukaryotes, it's a smaller percentage of the one. I mean, in my yeast that I work with, for example, homologous recombination is 1.5%, and non-homologous end joining is 98.5. So it's a lot more. So what you do?
My question is, how do we do it on all right, so I saw a
just to finish the thought, and I'm going to get to your insert thing. So basically, the thing is if for 1.5% of those times, you're actually going to add a piece of DNA that connects to the Cas9 that will actually, and you actually put it on the Cas9 because you have the cut happening, and then you have that piece of templated DNA right there. So it's actually super easy and quick for the cell to actually see it. And then homologous recombination is when it'll kind of align them together, and then make sure okay, A here, T here, C here, C here. Okay, this right here is a big space, and then we're going to fill it in. and it allows you to actually put in and insert a gene. So non-homologous end joining allows you to knock out a lot of genes because you can just put a cut here and a cut here, and then that little chunk is just going to fall out. But you can actually insert a gene with homologous recombination.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at. So like a dude made yeast makes spider silk, and I remember going like, who does that?
Yeah.
Awesome, by the way. Like, so, but I'm more or less looking at like, okay, we've determined this is a bad gene. It's causing these bad things. You know, whatever that you want to call it, right? My question is, are we at a point? Are we getting to the point where we could like, on a mass scale within the human body, be able to go in and like make those like corrections like on a bigger scale, or is this still kind of like, okay, in a small petri dish we could make the does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
like if
so we are doing human gene editing with CRISPR, but it is a different thing than Cas9. So basically, you still have the guide RNA that's searching for along the piece of DNA, and then instead of a Cas9 that's going to make that double-stranded break with the SNP, you actually can change from like a C to a T, or something like that. So yeah, you can actually do like small little edits, and this has actually been pioneered. If you want to check out his papers, and he's really active on X, David R. Liu. I'll write it in the chat. So David R. Liu is
I will read it.
An incredible scientist. He's one of the best molecular biologists in the world. And I actually have I think it's like my third video like on this channel. If you scroll down, I think it's like my two favorite scientists of all time, and it's David R. Liu and Francis Arnold. But David R. Liu is like, he evolved a new type of DNA editor that would just go single nucleotide by single nucleotide. And what they're doing is changing single nucleotides that have downstream effects that have like devastating disease impacts. So like PKU
so awesome.
or something like that, where it's like the quality of life. I mean, we're talking like vastly different. We're not changing entire genomes. We're not like doing a bunch of edits. We're just actually doing like
just little tweaks.
Yeah, exactly. One
I'm all
nucleotide
for
at a
it.
time.
Listen, I'm all for it. I love it. Actually, like a lot of this, like obviously I'm not that well educated. I'm self-taught. I don't mind reading the biology side of papers, but there's a lot of science I absolutely just can't stand reading the papers, because it's like it's like a journal with some citations. Like, what is this paper even saying? Did you do anything? Like, what was this an experiment, or was like this just saying a whole bunch of stuff and here's some citations? But on the biology side, it's always like, hey, look, we did this, this, and this, and this is our methodology, and it's like really neat. And I can ask AI. So I was just really excited about that, because with I saw they did an anole, a lizard. They actually made it albino. So I used to read ball pythons, and so you have a lot of your basic recessive, right? You breed an albino to a normal, you're going to have 100% hits for albinism, right? And then you got to hope that you hit on those. And then you have, we call them codominants. They're really more like an incomplete, and some have super forms. And so you could have a snake that could throw 6 different codominant morphs, right? But also carry recessive genes. It gets super, super crazy.
Cool.
And now they have shed testing, but I want to figure out if hopefully you scientists can figure out how we can basically design our own ball pythons.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's really hard, like basically when a organism is differentiated, in order to try to do a lot of those gene edits, because you have to change all of them at the same time. So you actually have multiple ways of your genome as a human existing. So you have like your somatic genome, which is like, for you, it sounds like you're probably in your testes. And then you have like the DNA that's in like your skin cells, for example, and they'll actually be completely different. And that's actually one of the reasons why you get sunburns. Sunburns are when your DNA changes too much from what you're kind of supposed to be, and that's basically your body rejects those skin cells because the DNA is too damaged. So. Yeah,
it's exciting though. I love, like, I don't know if you saw in Japan, they figured out how to make your teeth regrow.
Oh, cool! No, I did not. That's cool.
Yeah, so there's they found that, well, obviously, like it sounds better. So they discovered there's a protein that basically is suppressing when you lose your adult teeth from growing new teeth. But they figured out, okay, if we suppress this, what happens? And lo and behold, your teeth start to regrow. My only concern is like I can see the first guy who's like, oh, pick me, I'll be a trial, and then they can't stop growing, and then you have like great white mouth or something. But it was super cool. But they just found a protein, so
nice.
Science is awesome. But yeah, I just figured I saw you up here.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it.
That's I heard you say patent. You're going into patent stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of like the future because it's tough out there for bench science, man. Oh, thank you guys.
Yeah, going into patent is I applaud you because it is from what I've heard. It's tough.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I can like pass this patent bar. My goal is I will do it in the next 60 days, and then
we'll do it in the next 60
days. Exactly. We got to think positive. We're a positive community here, guys. Positive and compassionate.
Well, I'll call you when I want to patent a plant.
That sounds like a good plan.
It's actually a thing. I'm sure you know it, but a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've done it before.
I'm working on some stuff right now. I crossing genetics from different succulent plants. Let's just say that I import from South Korea, so I've got I've been pushing, trying to get some stuff that's not really supposed to cross across. We'll see how it goes.
Nice.
But yeah, so if I hit something big, you can be my patent guy.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right,
cool.
man.
Well, thanks, Spencer. I appreciate you joining, man. Always that was a good convo. I appreciate you, man.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, see you. All right, Joe. Gary, yeah, you're number 3. Yeah.
Hey,
you got Sheep and then Jen and then Gary. Good, man. What's up?
Hey, last time I was up here, it was about a week ago. I was just coming off of surgery, so I was medicated and I was having trouble enunciating. I think you'll find I'm a little bit more verbose right now.
Sick. I've not read your books that you're the shilling for.
That's okay.
So I have not.
That's okay.
I think you really work for like a Penguin publishing house or something, and you're getting paid by them. Is that?
No. I'm talking to the NYT right now, so we'll see if they want to publish my book.
Okay.
I was kidnapped in Venezuela. I was kidnapped in Venezuela. It made international news, so it's going to be an interesting read. So if you want to add me, we could network. You know, I'm willing to help you. You help me. You know,
Venezuela.
Iron sharpens. Joe St. Clair, Venezuela, CNN. If you want to search me.
Oh. Wow.
You might find some naughty things I've done as well.
Oh wait.
No, actually, because I was a political case.
You interviewed him. The families for the went.
No, they came out after I came out. I came out in May. My name is Joseph St. Clair, CNN Venezuela. I came out in May. They released me on my own. I was apparently high enough profile. I got released as a separate case before the rest of them. To show goodwill between the Venezuelan and Trump administration.
Wait, you got released from Venezuela?
Yes, I was kidnapped and released from Venezuela.
What? Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
Wow. Holy shit, dude. Wow.
That's besides the I want to have a good conversation with you. That's besides the point.
Okay.
And if you could tell by my name, I'm a polyglot, so I speak Spanish.
Okay, wow.
And my Que rico. Oh. You went to Harvard, I believe, right?
No.
Okay. I thought I'd heard that.
I'm a public school boy. I did UCSD and UC Riverside.
Okay, I'm a Berkeley alma mater. So
nice, dude. UC, there we go.
But I will say this pertaining to the other conversation is that I was homeschooled off and on, and I think that if you look at the historical analysis of IQ testing, I think we can acknowledge that it has some roots in what we call eugenics. Oh my God. As well as, I don't know if you're familiar with the RAND Corporation. Are you familiar with the RAND Corporation?
Yeah, I heard about it. So
they pioneered IQ testing during the First World War. And, somebody said of the military-industrial complex, but they have produced the greatest works of science, as well as perhaps the greatest body of, I guess, analysis on both human behavior as well as the distribution bell curve of how human beings play out, if you want to put it that way.
Huh.
But yeah, they pioneered IQ testing. I say that because I'm a linguist by trade. I went through DLI because it's Defense Language Institute. To become a linguist in the military, you have to have a very obviously high IQ, but also you have to be from a family that's poor enough that has made, economic decisions that are perhaps not wise enough to result in you going to college or an elite university. Mm-hmm. So you're forced to enlist on one hand, but you're also smart enough to. It's very interesting kind of thought experience because it pulls together the richest poor people, and it's very incestuous. Because my dad went there, I went there. I know several people that went there, and I've read the Rand Corporation studies from World War I, and it's very, very interesting to see what they already knew as far as back then. That being said, I'm not opposed to scientists or academics making a profit and benefiting from their endeavors, and I think that we need to have reform, and I think that we're seeing that a new system will emerge under Trump, and I favor the divorcing of, I put this to you last time, corporate power and academia, because I think that there's a certain level of corruption that goes when you marry grants that are funded by corporations to academia, right? Because I'm a well-educated person, and if I see something and I want the result, I can create a study and essentially, pick the data that I want in a manner that reflects the results that I want. And I think that that's true. We've seen that with perhaps the nicotine industry, where they had tons of different studies reporting the great, benefits of smoking cigarettes, when really they were lacing this stuff with the most addictive, most carcinogenic, chemicals that they possibly could. So I think that industry is a great kind of emblem of what can go wrong when it comes to the marriage between science and finance. And I would also say that if you look historically, and I would use myself and perhaps the last user who's also from the South, I'm from the Deep South, as an example of a situation where I was not raised in California. I did go to Berkeley, and I appreciate the California education system 100%. But I would say the beauty of America is that we have a level of autonomy and independence within our education system. And I think that if you look at the sort of education outcomes with people who have higher levels of autonomy, we've seen time and time again that private school, homeschooling, and Montessori schools, right?
Sure.
These three major categories produce perhaps what we could consider our greatest minds, because we know Einstein, for example, he did not, quote unquote, perform successfully within this public education system that has its roots in both corporatism as well as the Weimar Republic, where they were essentially, shoving German, Prussian, worker class, factorial training down people's throats, right? They wanted you to be a good worker within the factory. They didn't necessarily want you to be powerful enough mind to question the status quo, right? So within that realm of understanding that we're all human beings, we're all born, we all start off, and there's a limited amount of knowledge that we can attain. Like, I can't know everything personally. I can't, as multidisciplined as I am, I cannot talk to the level of gene editing that you can, obviously, because I don't have a doctorate in that category. I would say that the American system, when you look at, I'm not going to say India, I will say maybe South Korea, North Korea, China, that level of autonomy has really kind of reached this perfect, marriage between allowing autonomy to expressively create creativity and kind of create that spontaneity that drives innovation, versus the Chinese system, which is very, very centered around teaching you what to think and scoring high on these IQ tests, because we know IQ tests favor people who have studied for them as well as people who have formal education backgrounds. If the IQ test is in your native language and you're a non-native speaker, you will perform better on those IQ tests. So the criticism I have of those systems, and I think you'll find, is that they don't produce innovation and they don't produce this, miracle of creativity that we have in the West. And they're very, 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 very good at mimicry. But what they lack is that, certain American exceptionalism, if you want to call it that innovation and that creativity.
I mean, I agree with you, but it's like, it's because we fund public education that isn't profit driven, and because that's why it's like it takes 20 to 30 years in order to develop something that's truly revolutionary, like CRISPR or something. Like Doudna was begging for money from the NSF since 1995 in order to study bacterial defense mechanisms, and nobody wanted to fund her. And it's just it takes a long time.
Do you know the history? Do you know the history of public education in our country?
I know the history of technology revolution.
When did public schools first come into root?
I don't know.
That would have been in the 1910s.
Okay.
And they followed the German model. They were following the Prussian, which I don't know if you know. Our military did the same thing, because the precursor to the German state was Prussia, and they were very good at discipline. They were very good at education, but they also, not to get into Marxism or classism, they viewed the world through a very expansionist, point of view, and they viewed themselves as the ruling class, and they viewed, other human beings somewhat. They objectified them, and they said, how can we train a person to do what we need to do, which is be intelligent enough, creative enough to, push our science forward without questioning the overall system. And I think that's a reflection in our public education system. Now,
I think there's just a big difference between like public education and the research that happens at a university, which is where like a majority of the patents and everything comes from.
There is, but you can't ignore the incentivization, like the current grant system. When you are accepting money from essentially the largest corporations, you have an incentive to tell them what they want to hear.
The grants. No. Grants. You're not accepting any money from the corporations for grants. Those are money that's coming from the NSF, NIH, NASA.
You're ignoring where those organizations get their funds, which are through the corporations. I'm telling you that. I've studied
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. I've studied corporate finance.
NSF, NIH is not getting their money through corporations, dude. That's not.
That is no, they are. And if you look at the NIH is great.
What? Okay.
Because there's a revolving.
No,
Pfizer for one.
No, Pfizer is not giving $20 billion a year to NSF. That just doesn't make any sense.
There's a dual fold function. One, you get it through grants that come through corporations directly.
No,
into
you can.
NIH.
You can, but it's there's private organizations.
I encourage anyone to educate themselves, because the paper trail exists. You could say no, but it's true.
There's private organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that do give out grants, but the NSF is not a private corporation where they're getting money through the. It's just not what's happening.
That's what I was getting into. Is that there's threefold. One, you get it directly through corporations. The second thing you get is through NGOs, which are proxies of corporations, which are essentially tax havens, right? Because you can donate $1 billion to an NGO as the Bill and Gates Melinda Foundation, right? Not be taxed, still have control of that wealth, and still use it to pay your people, and list it as a tax write-off rather than be directly taxed on your wealth. And then third, through tax exceptions through the centralized federalized government. So all of these things work in conjunction to create a system that incentivizes essentially working for the people that pay you, which is ultimately yes.
No, dude.
Yes,
dude. We're talking about 200.
No, you can say no, but I think anybody listening can tell that I'm very, very well read on this. And
okay, so
perhaps
who are the companies that are donating $200 billion for this? There's $100 billion.
The Lancet, Pfizer, Name of a
The
pharma
Lancet?
company.
The Lancet isn't. Elsevier is not like is a publisher.
If you
man.
understand how financialization works, what you have is a web of ownership where corporations can own NGOs, NGOs can own corporations, and there's a giant web of what I would call is, the unicorporation, which essentially owns itself. And the major stakeholder in this system is actually people who have invested in IRAs and Roth IRAs. So it's the working
You're
class
talking about
American.
index funds and BlackRock and institutional ownership
I'm
and
talking.
all that kind of stuff.
I'm talking
like
about
you're putting
I'm talking about
stringing together stuff.
I'm talking about. Hold on. Because this is what an intelligent person does: is they can have multi-discipline understanding of complex systems and look at the outcomes and connect and bridge ideas. Because they're separate doesn't mean everything's connected on a certain level. Certainly, you understand that. There's a lot of interplay between different fields. You know that to be true. So, that being said, obviously there is a marriage between corporatism and academia, and there's a revolving door.
There's a revolving door, but it's not direct payments, dude. That's just crazy.
I have not posited that there's direct payments.
Yes, you did. You said that's where all their funding comes from.
I said there's a system of grants. I've never posited.
Well, what do you think your grant is? Grants are money. That's a pool of money that people can apply for.
I know that you have a vested interest because you're an academic and you need the grant money. But let's move.
Dude, that's not even true. I just got fired from my private biotech job today. We all got laid off. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. And this is what I'm saying is I'm hoping that we can move past this system so that we can find a way that somebody like you who's doing great work and pushing us forward can actually profit off of what you're doing rather than enriching, a trust fund baby who is on paper not actually studying themselves, and because their grandparents found an oil field
I agree with you there that billionaires are parasites in society and they're taking away all our money that we could be using for research and development, and that's for sure happening.
Great. It says we actually probably agree on more than you realize.
Good.
What I was saying.
I just have Peaches been waiting here for a long time, and you've been going for 15 minutes. I gave people 5 minutes all night, dude, and I gave you 15. So I appreciate you. I just need to do this.
Let's get into the science.
I gave you 5 minutes, dude. I gave you 15 minutes, and I've been doing 5 minutes, dude. So I talked to you for 3 times.
There's two major types of gene editing that we have.
Don't get mad at me, dude. I appreciate you. We have to go to someone else, dude. Okay.
We can table this conversation for another time.
Just re-queue. Yeah, just re-queue. I just got to go to Peaches.
I want to talk to you about this.
That's fine. Yeah, just re-queue. I just need to talk to Peaches, and then you can re-queue, and then it's good. Okay.
Talk to Peaches.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be as stimulating as this conversation, but I acknowledge you have people that you need to bring up.
Everyone's equal, bro. I'm a.
Okay. I support that. I'm egalitarian as well. So go ahead.
Cool. Nice. Okay. Peaches, how are you?
Dr. Greg, hi.
Hello.
I want to tell you it's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you. I'm honored.
Really?
And
you're so nice. Thank you.
I want to. I'm probably not going to be as stimulating, but
stop! Don't do that.
Listen, I just had a few things I wanted to say. That's all. I could not possibly hold a candle to you when it comes to deep conversation into what you do, but I want you to know how upset I am about you losing your position because of Trump. Yeah. I totally fear that with what the Trump administration is doing with education alone in this country, it's going to be dumbing down further future generations, and we need people like you.
Well,
we need colleges. We need, people like you with your expertise and your drive and your education and et cetera. We can't lose people like you. We need more of you.
Thank you.
And I'm not. I don't completely, totally understand a lot of what you do. However, can I ask you a silly question?
Sure.
I'm fascinated by genetics and things such as that. Where do you see the future of it? I know we're in odd times now, but say things are different in this country. Where do you see it going, say 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now? What predictions will genetics be able to make that may not be capable of happening today?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess like the most immediate one that I can kind of like step to. I mean, they would be like super 50 years is really long, but I think within the next 10 years that we're going to have like more of a direct connection with our microbiome, and we're going to be having our like sequencing done a lot for our gut microbiome to see kind of like how things are doing. Like if you're in the hospital, maybe you'll have your stool sample like sequenced all the time just to stem MRSA outbreaks, stem staph outbreaks. A lot of times, like a lot of the healing, it comes from the microbiome. That it actually, your gut microbiome has a connection to your brain. So there's just a lot of stuff that we're learning for the first time, because you are, half human cell and half microbe. If you took all your cells and just said human microbe, you're about half microbe. So it's a huge part of like who you are and how you perceive the world as this microbial community.
Oh my gosh, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
And encouraging, very encouraging.
And I think like the antibiotics will probably go away, because we're probably we're hurting so much of our gut microbiome, and it's not just like we're hurting all of them, but what happens is that in a microbial community, there's like cells that only make up like 1 or 2% of the cells. But sometimes they have a huge impact on like waste recycling or stuff like that. So it can have a huge impact on the health of the entire community. And what happens is when you use like general antibiotics, you just lose out on those. And if you lose out on those, then it's like hard to get those back. It's hard to get your gut microbiome back. So like when kids eat dirt, when they like put rocks in their mouth, like that kind of stuff, I mean, you're literally helping establish your gut microbiome diversity. I honestly actually think that is a learned behavior, genuinely, like to try to get more gut flora going. So like, I mean, I have 4 kids, so whenever I used to see them like put rocks in their mouth, I'm just like, well, you win.
Just don't bite down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes, I mean, those teeth that are coming in are so sharp, I'm like, you know what, sand some of those down. I don't want yeah. Well, yeah,
that is absolutely fascinating.
Learned through evolution. So yeah, evolutionarily like learned kind of thing. So.
When I was growing up as a kid, I was constantly sick. Every time you turned around, I was on antibiotics. And I'm a grown elderly woman. I mean, I'm like dangerously close to 70 now. And I'm still just the effects of all years and years of antibiotics on my body really took its toll. And I don't know if there is a direct, connection to all of that having happened to me and, autoimmune diseases that I have and et cetera, et cetera. But I just find it odd that, I'm the only child out of our family that had that happen, and yet I'm the one that has all these, medical issues. That would be just, oh my gosh, to get rid of antibiotics and be able to build up your, oh my gosh, that is such good news.
I think, I mean, that is something we're, basically next generation sequencing has allowed us in the last 15 years to really understand how much of an impact microbes are making, and it has a huge impact in the oceans, in the dirt for plants. It's a huge thing for humans. It's a huge thing for our immune systems, for our brain. It's on our skin. It's mostly in your gut though. So you have a really long tube, and in each of those folds is like a different community, and they all kind of like specialize on their own nutrient recycling portion of the pathway, which is kind of cool.
Well, I firmly believe in that, and I've been doing a lot of research lately as far as probiotics and prebiotics, and dietary changes and et cetera, et cetera. And I find that alone fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But do you think that any of all of this research, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what are, I realize that so much has ended now because of this administration, but is there any hope on the horizon for any a good outlook for cancer, perhaps?
I mean, so cancer is kind of being revolutionized by all the sequencing that we're doing and figuring out kind of like how these networks and how these cellular pathways are kind of connected. So basically, cancer exists because that community of microbes and stuff that I was talking about, basically they differentiate and become different types of cells, and they all have to communicate to one another to be like, okay, we don't need this many muscle cells, we only need this much skin cells, and it regulates one another, like the number, the total number, their growth rate, all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of molecular mechanisms that do that. So it's like pre-transcription, transcription, post-transcription, splicing, translation, post-translational modification, proteins. There's so many different ways, and each of those has different ways too. So basically, those pathways can be altered accidentally or shut off. And that's why there's so many different types of cancers. So people say cancer, but in reality, we're talking about like, hundreds of diseases actually. So it's hard to say like there's going to be a cure for cancer or like a something like that. But it's like there's so many. I mean, we already do actually have like cures for some cancer. I actually I was on a paper that cured non-Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 1 with algae.
Gosh.
Yeah, with algae. We made a drug inside the chloroplast of algae, and then used and purified that, and then gave it to some mice that had non-Hodgkin's. It's stage 1, but it's still like there are some cancers that are treatable.
But still, Dr. Greg, thank you for your work.
Oh, cool. Thank you. That's really nice.
I mean, I don't know if to you, it's your profession, it's your job, and etc. But I can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you.
Just
You're so
me
kind.
personally, seriously, Dr. I cannot thank you enough for your expertise and your knowledge, and even just taking the time to come on here on a TikTok and just explain to somebody such as myself, when I'm sitting and listening to your explanations, it's not above my head. I understand what you're saying.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, I'm not like running over to Google to for every third word to figure out what you're trying to convey. And so I won't keep you. I want to let others on the line, but please know, Dr. Greg, I'm pulling for you. I hope your future is what you want it to be and more. And thank you again from my heart so much for all that you do. And maybe I'll get to talk to you again down the road sometime.
Oh, thank you so much. You're such a kind person. You're exactly why I'm here. For real. I want to try to elevate like science and knowledge and try to help people up rather than like dumb it down as much as I can. So I try to make it fun and entertaining so that I'm excited about it, because if I just make it into like Lego analogies for the 2 hours, it's not as fun. But like there's cool stuff happening, and I feel like there is so much to talk about, and you're exactly why I'm here. Like you are the type of person that this is all for. So you've like made my whole day and my month, and this is
goodness.
This is only my second week. This is only like my second week on here, by the way. So
please keep coming back. You are fascinating, interesting, and again, thank you so much again, Dr. Greg, and I look forward to seeing you again soon, I hope.
Okay.
And good luck with your you have to do exams, did you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass the patent bar in 60 days.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Well, I'm all good thoughts.
Awesome.
I'm praying for you. All good thoughts. And
thank you.
I look forward to seeing you again soon, Doc. Thank you so much.
Dude,
thank you, dear.
You are the best. Thank you so much, Peaches. Thank
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Damn, guys. I just want to pause real quick. Damn. That was so genuine, heartfelt. Damn. It's amazing. That's amazing. It's like that's why we do this, Time's tough, man. And I know you guys are dealing with stuff too. I just got the camera on me, and there's other people out there that are dealing with other things too. And I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you guys too. So, there's just a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, and that's why I want to be positive and have a good community here where people can feel welcome, and that positivity can help people get through stuff. And yeah, damn. Yeah, nurse, you're up for sure. Dang, incredible. Thank you guys. Thank you. That's so nice, man. It's so nice. Okay. I was a microbiology professor for a quarter, and then but I've been doing bench science for 16 years. So, yeah. Okay. Nurse.
Me now?
Yay. How do you
Hi.
Nurse Ansu?
Yes, Nurse Ansu.
Cool. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I saw the face and I had to stay for the science. So
Oh, cool.
I'm a
Okay,
little
cool.
embarrassed. So I don't usually
Dumping.
pick up men on TikTok.
Okay.
But anyway, I wrote a paper because I went to Harvard X.
Oh, cool.
On the edX, it's an app, and they made you write a paper. So I've got a long version and a short version, but I will just bless you with the short version.
Okay.
And I wrote it. It's called Healthcare for All, a
Good.
Right, Not a Privilege.
Nice. I like it.
Tennessee. I mean, East Tennessee. I'm a Appalachian girl.
Cool.
In East Tennessee, people sleep in cars overnight for a chance to see a doctor. They aren't lazy, they're desperate. Our system puts profits before patients. Insurance companies deny treatments. States reject federal help. Preventable diseases like cancer and heart attacks steal lives because people can't afford early care. I've been a nurse for 35 years. I've seen families shattered when the main breadwinner becomes disabled by something that could have been prevented. My congressman says healthcare is a privilege. He's wrong. In a civilized nation, it's a right. Charity clinics like rural area medical save lives, but charity is not a system. We need affordable, accessible care for everyone, backed by education to keep people healthy. I will fight for that through my work, my vote, and my voice until no one in America has to choose between their health and a paycheck. That's my essay, the short version.
Amazing. That's so good. I
Well,
totally
that's the
agree.
edited version. A friend of mine teaches drama at the local private school, and he took my long paper and he said, "You can't write all that online or read all that online."
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it for him on the camera to go on my TikTok page.
Oh,
But
cool.
he edited it for me. You know how writers hate editors?
Yeah,
So,
it's the
I feel
hardest
like I
part.
had to fight for every word.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I wrote a paper about healthcare. And, my congressman is, I don't know if you've heard of him, Tim Burchett, or we call him Tim Birdshit. He's from Tennessee, 2nd District, one of the poorest districts in Appalachia. And he actually has on a television interview. He wrote on the television interview, the local television interview, the interviewer said, "Do you think that healthcare is a right or a privilege?" And he said, "Well, it's a privilege. Of course it's a privilege." Wrong answer, jerk. That is the
Yeah.
wrong answer. He doesn't care if Appalachia has insurance or not. He doesn't care if the children's hospital full of neonatal babies,
Yeah.
if they live or not, really. I mean, with their pro-life and anti-choice and anti-abortion. Hey, got a room full of NICU babies on death's door in my children's hospital in this town in Knoxville, Tennessee. Does he care about them? Oh yeah, yeah, I bet he does. No, not when the bills come up.
Yeah.
If the
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the country was founded on, like, the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh,
Life,
you know what he said? Oh, yeah, what he said. Let me find you my first paper that I wrote about him, because he's an idiot. He's a blooming idiot. So in my first paper, Healthcare for All, Is It Possible? He actually got the Declaration of the Independence and the Constitution confused. Because those are two separate documents. Am I right?
Yeah. Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are different. Yeah.
Yes. Well, his excuse was, well, the Constitution says that we should have life, liberty, and justice for all, or I don't know what all he said. Anyway, so the Constitution, obviously, I mean, he doesn't like the Constitution, all of it anyway, because they want to get away. They want to take my 19th Amendment.
Yeah.
These Christian nationalists, they don't care about women.
Yeah.
Or abortion. It's not about that. It's about control.
How long have you been a NICU nurse?
Well, I was only an ICU nurse for 6 months because I cried every day.
Yeah.
Now
That's
I
really
am
tough.
cardiology. I'm in adult cardiology.
Gotcha.
Yes, and I love cardiology, but a lot of the older people that I take care of aren't that old. Some of them are 40 years old. I've got 30-year-olds who are now coming up with horrible heart disease. And once that primary breadwinner is cut out of the equation, they were going on disability.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere in, a big city in Appalachia where, most of the jobs around here are heavy labor jobs. A lot of labor, a lot of factories. And, my daddy worked in a factory and he was an electrician and he got lung cancer from it because he was in the most dangerous job and breathing in asbestosis, and he left me early because of the
I'm sorry.
because of the lung. Yeah, well, he took a pill for like 2 or 3 years. It was a magic pill, but it only lasts 2 years, and it did the best that it could. But the lung cancer, which is, this is why cancer though has become exciting. We've got immunotherapy.
Yeah.
My
Gene
sister's
therapy.
bladder
Yeah.
My sister's bladder cancer was cured with immunotherapy over there at
Wow.
Emory University.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Emory University in Atlanta. She had to drive down there. She lives in Chattanooga, so it's like a 45-minute drive to go to Emory. And now she's cured of her cancer. So while that's amazing, we need to cure more cancers. What were
Yeah.
you studying that you were working on?
The company that got laid off was basically we were trying to make like pharmaceuticals and medicine like cheaper, and but yeah, it kind of like used the microbes that exist in the environment to try to see if we could find better proteins and better fuel, better materials, that kind of thing. So it was really cool. It was like a microbiology company that was using the diversity of life in order to kind of like make new products. But
You weren't making any new aliens, were you? Or any
not
new
yet. I was trying. That's what they shut down. They shut it down.
You're not making any I'm also a horror movie fan. I like
Oh,
scary
exciting.
movies.
Oh,
And that's
exciting.
always how one of those scary movies starts,
Mm-hmm.
One of those, or those Fantastic Four, the super movie heroes, Superman.
Yeah.
Or Spider-Man. He got bit by a spider and got Spidey sense.
And you know what? I try to tell people I'm not Bruce. I'm not the name's I'm not Peter Parker. I'm Bruce Banner. So that's the
Bruce
difference.
Banner was the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get angry and start having
I
green.
guess so sometimes. It's okay. That's the jujitsu side of me that comes out, I guess so.
Well, you were hot, number one. And number two, I didn't want to embarrass you. And
Thank
I
you.
really enjoy your conversation. And
Good, thank you.
I hit the follow. So I hope to
Awesome.
see you on here some more.
I will. It's been so fun. And really productive and fun. And I'm overwhelmed.
Hey, you've got me up at 3:30 in the morning when I'm supposed to be asleep in bed at 8 o'clock.
Okay,
So
cool.
You kept an old lady up all night.
All right. Oh man, so it's here. It's late here too, man. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you requesting to join, and it was really nice talking to you. Keep up the good fighting for healthcare for people. That's a good thing to fight for.
I am trying. Like and follow, guys. I'm trying to get followers.
Nice.
Good night.
All right, have a good one.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Fast. Oh, Demon Side, you're in chat too, so you're Demon Side. How's it going? Demon Side. Dima Sunday. Are you like chatting? Is that what you're in chat so long? You're not paying attention.
Adrian.
Yo.
Adrian.
Hello. You're up. Demon Side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Adrian.
Is this like a board?
Adrian.
Like yeah, that's okay. What is that? I guess we just planned that guy, huh? Okay. What's Adrian? Like, who is like, what is that? Like, what doesn't even make any sense. Who is that? What is? Are you guys up? Guess got to get up early.
Oh.
What's up, dude? How's it going?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. No, I just had a question.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 3 years, okay, obviously I'm not vaccinated because my company, I didn't have to take it.
And you're selfish. So why would you think about anyone else?
How do you figure that?
Because you didn't get vaccinated. You don't care about anyone else, dude.
I'm not the only one.
So that doesn't mean anything. You can be selfish, and you can be selfish with other people being selfish. Go ahead.
Well, Okay, I've been to 7 concerts, thousands of people.
Damn.
After 22, starting in 22 to now.
Okay.
So if this shit was real, why am I still alive? Can you explain that?
Okay, so do you think that SARS-CoV-2 is a virus?
Do you understand what a concert is?
Do you understand what a virus is?
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand.
Is there a
They
virus?
brainwashed you, and they put fear into the world,
Okay.
telling you it was so deadly. And let me give you one information: not one person in my family passed away. Not
Okay.
one.
Is there a
Okay.
virus? It's called SARS-CoV-2.
In your mind, and then whoever had Democrats in China, yeah.
Okay, so you don't think that there was an actual virus?
Personally, no.
Okay.
It's all political.
Okay.
When they started this in 19 and 20, it was all political. They started it
In 1920, you think this conspiracy goes back to 1920?
I'm talking about the election year when they started this
1920. What is that?
virus.
FDR?
No,
Like what is that?
no, I'm talking about in 21 and 20 when they scared the whole world with this corona crap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't think that there's
So
do you think that coronaviruses exist? Do you know that viruses exist? How do you
yeah, it's
know?
in the back. It's in the back of the bottle of the cleaning solution that we use, Lysol.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So
about as
you
far
don't
as I
think
think it
okay, so you're
goes.
rejecting germ theory. It's not even just COVID-19. It's you don't accept that germs are real.
Well, yeah, you can get sick. You can catch
Oh.
something from
Oh,
somebody,
why
but
do you
it's
believe
usually
those?
the flu. It's the
Why do you
flu.
believe that those exist?
The flu exists
Why? Prove it.
because
Prove it.
you can't get a sinus infection,
Prove it. I've
which
never been sick in
I
my life. I've never had anyone die from my flu. Prove it.
what do you? Well, that's a lie. Many have passed away from the flu.
Well, prove it. It's just, and you're living in fear. You're living in fear.
What kind of doctor are you, man?
Prove to me that the flu is real.
It's been real for a long time.
How do you prove it? If you can't, have you ever seen a flu? Have you ever seen a virus?
No, what do? Shove that shit up your nose, or they?
No, that's what you're doing.
I don't know.
That's what you're doing. You're living in fear, dude. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're saying that there's there's viruses out there. What are you talking about? Prove to me that viruses are real.
Yeah, well,
you can't prove to me that viruses are real.
COVID was political.
You can't prove to me that viruses are real.
It started in an election year.
No, you're the one.
That's not a coincidence, bro.
Why are you getting so mad, bro? You can't prove that viruses are real. Why are you getting mad? Do you know what a bacteria is? Or is bacteria real? Have you ever seen a bacteria?
So are you?
Do you know what a bacteria looks like?
Dude, I worked outside at the airports for 30 years. I've
Okay.
been around bacteria, a lot of bacteria.
Okay, prove to me that they're real. Prove to me. Prove it.
Okay, so one time I got an infection. I had an infection in my thumb.
I've never gotten an infected thumb ever in my life.
Well, I had to work outside.
I've never gotten infected in my thumb.
I was working outside in
my
the
thumb.
heat, so
I look at my thumbs.
I cannot wear gloves.
Are my thumbs infected? Or do I have infected thumbs?
Well,
boom, you're done. You don't have any evidence.
Dude, you don't know nothing about working outside, do you, dude? You don't know
prove to me. Prove to me that viruses are real.
You mean
you can't? You can't.
What are you talking about?
Prove to me that they're real.
You believe COVID's real? That's a virus, right?
I don't believe that any viruses are real. You're telling me that coronaviruses are real and the flu exists, and I'm saying no. You don't have any proof of it.
Well, that's what I thought I was going to argue for, that all this shit is just, blah.
Yeah, you don't have any. So the thing is, you're listening to the same microbiologists that are telling you that the flu is real, and then you're discounting and not believing those same microbiologists that say that SARS-CoV-2 is real. and they're using the exact same sequencing and molecular biology techniques in order to prove that SARS-CoV-2 is real. So if you don't believe that SARS-CoV-2 is real, you shouldn't believe that coronaviruses exist, bro, because it's the exact same stuff. It's the exact same tools. It's the exact same instruments.
Okay. Well, people unalive, people
Sounds good.
unalive every
All
day.
right, see ya. All right, Gary's the last one. Oh, Gary left. Oh. Okay, guys. No, he can keep coming back, dude. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, the dude keeps getting blown out, just like he gets blown out every time he hangs out with Trump. So there you go. The Gary, do you want to pop in, bro? I'm sorry, I hit accept just as you popped out, but Joe, I gotta go to bed, dude. I got jujitsu in 4 hours, guys. But Joe, I talked to you more than anyone today, dude. I talked to you for 15 minutes. So, I just talked to you for 15 minutes. I talked to everyone else for 5. And I got to go like strangle some fools. So I got to, you know. Anyway, yeah, Peaches, thank you so much. You're also like such a touching, warming thing thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you. Thank you, Sheep Doodle. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Jen. Ducray, as always. Maiden, thank you. Dr. T, thank you. Par Sideroom, thank you. Augie, Monty Smoke, the Reset Coach. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything. Fast Talker, Nurse Ansu. Thank you, guys. It's a very weird time in my life, I will be honest with you. And I started doing this a couple weeks ago, not knowing where this was going to go. You know, I was honestly doing Twitch and YouTube streams for over a year, and I would have like nobody in chat. And I would have maybe one or two. Oh, thanks, Dr. T. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you. And like trying to have a science-minded stream that we're talking about papers and we're talking about science and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just blown away. I'm 38. So it is so cool. It's so cool that we have this community, and everyone is so supportive and awesome, and feels like we. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it is crazy the amount of scientists and MDs and PhDs, physicians, nurses that have found this live. I don't know how. It is actually wild. Like and some of you have been here since like the first or second stream. I don't understand it, but it's been so fun. Okay, Garrett, I'm going to give you a chance, bro. I swear I will actually ban you if you like actually troll me. I really did get laid off yesterday, so I have no patience, but I want to talk to you, bro, and I want to have a real conversation. But I'm telling you, I will ban you tonight. You're on that line already, and I don't feel like you were respecting me yesterday, and you're really frustrating me. So if you want, I'll hit accept, but you could get banned here. I'm just letting you know. I would close the app if you don't. I'm hitting accept. Oh, no, it's Garrett, not you, not Gary. You're good.
How you doing, Dr. Greg?
What's up, dude? I've been better, man. Yeah, my whole company got laid off. The whole branch got closed.
You got laid off?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
it's awful.
You got a PhD. You'll get a job soon.
No, it's bad, man. No, you don't understand. Like the job prospects are really bad right now in science. It's the funding is all like dried up, dude.
Is this Trump's like cuts and shit or what?
Yeah, and the tariffs, and people aren't spending money, like companies, like like the rest, basically like biotechs are super risky. So when money gets expensive with high rates, people aren't going to invest into risky things like biotechs. So and the instruments and the equipment and the ancillary supportive companies and everything, they all get hurt. Like, so it's bad. It's all downstream of all his stuff. And honestly, because of the Russia invading Ukraine, increased the natural gas costs in Germany by like 30%. And that drove up more costs because it's a German company. So it's just confounding variables kind of thing.
I mean, but the economy is doing really good right now. But so
No,
that's
not really
something
though. It's not though, dude. It's like the numbers are good for like literally 7 companies. It's like the S&P 493, not so good, but the top 7 companies are doing well. So it's like it's not doing well.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my Tesla stocks kind of took a hit last week. I was kind of scared about that, but
dude, Tesla stock is such a meme, man. I think like I personally I like AMD right now, dude. I think AMD is going to be a big player in the future. It's already shot up a ton, obviously, but AMD is pretty good. I like it, and yeah.
Yeah, I like Nvidia a lot.
Nvidia's topped out, man. It's like all-time high, and I don't feel like it's gonna be like pushing all-time high through that huge resistance. So that's the problem.
Yeah,
it's too big. It's
well,
too big of a stock.
I don't want to make you angry, Dr. Greg, but I do have something I do want to talk about.
Okay.
And I don't want to talk about COVID's this, COVID's that. It's fake. It's China. I won't say that because I know you don't like that. But you were talking about lockdowns, right? How Trump didn't do a good job of locking down during the.
Yeah, he didn't do lockdowns.
Well, yeah. Can I use the voice, Greg?
For what?
Okay. Dr. Greg. No, I'm just kidding. How do you expect people to lock down, Greg? I mean, we live in a society where people have to do things. There's no such thing. COVID would have broke out no matter what Trump did. How am I supposed to get food if I'm supposed to be quarantined inside my house? I don't understand.
So like, let's say like there's a virus that's going to come in and it's going to kill 1.3 million people died from COVID. Let's say that we have, in this hypothetical, 100 million people are going to die.
But I thought it wasn't that dangerous.
Let's say it is. Let's say you have 100 million people that are going to die. What would you do to stop that?
If I knew 100 people were going to die, what would I do?
100 million. I mean,
there's nothing you can do. I mean, masks don't work. Fauci said the masks don't work. Lockdown, a complete lockdown is just it can't happen. So you just try to live as best as you can. I say social distance as best as we can.
That's what you would say about one in every 3 Americans is about to die, and you're gonna just be like, all right, dude, let's have fun out there, guys.
Well, I mean, if masks don't work, which is all we had, what's the point if it doesn't work?
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you.
A lockdown won't work. So what do you do?
So that's what you would do. You would do nothing if 1 out of 4 Americans are gonna die.
I social distance as best as you can. and find a better way to, cover the, airborne.
Okay, so let's say half. Let's double it again. Half of the Americans are going to die.
Mhm.
1 of every 2 Americans will 100% die. We know it's coming in. They're going to die. What would you do?
I mean, nothing. You live on. I'm not trying to be. I'm being serious. Hear me?
Your thing's
Thanos wiped
popping.
out the population, and
Okay,
you hear me?
you're popping out. You're popping out, dude. Okay.
Gosh darn freaking internet.
Okay.
Am I there?
One more time.
I was saying, Thanos wiped out half the population, right? In Marvel. Have you watched that?
Yeah.
What happened? The world thrived. There was an abundance. I'm not saying I want half the people to die. I'm saying if you just said if half the people were to die, you can't do anything about it.
You can though.
I don't want people to die. I'm just
okay. So what if? Okay. Okay.
Wait.
Let's double it again.
What do you
Let's
do?
double it again. Every American will die. Every single person will die in the United States if we don't do something about this. What do you do?
You just said they're gonna die anyways, Greg. Well, I can't do anything. What do you do, Dr. Greg?
Oh my
Tell
God,
me.
dude. You would just just let the virus come in and you can't do anything, guys. They'll figure it out.
You can't stop the virus from not coming in.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
How?
So isolate, quarantine, test, mask, vaccine.
Every single person. People have to work
If
jobs.
we're gonna do every single person will die if you don't do this, dude. Like, of course, yeah, of course. Well, you know what I'm doing here? I'm testing the extremes to see if there's some level at which you would actually do something for preventative health.
Okay, Greg, and I get your point, because in a hypothetical perfect world, that is exactly what I would do. No interaction, complete lockdown, but people have to get food, they have to go to the bank, they have to work, people need help. Like, you can't stop it from coming over.
Okay. This is the problem, bro. Like, you think that there is no point and no amount of people dying that would be okay in order to do anything public health related. So that's a problem. That is a problem. And that's what you need to think about. That is that's your homework. Your homework right now is to think about what would need to be the scenario. How bad would it need to be in order for you to think about public health as a priority? That's your homework, and you can come on tomorrow and we can talk about it. Okay. All right. Thanks, dude.
About people.
Okay. All right, guys. I do think Garrett is good people. He actually listened this time and he actually gave good answers and he didn't just do the main thing. I do think that it's good to talk to people like that. I think he's approachable. I do. I think if I think if Garrett had a legitimate science question, he would come in here, and I think that's why. And that's why, dude. I gotta go to bed, dude. Your gifts aren't gonna make any difference, but okay. Thank you guys. What a roller coaster of a night. That was wild. I think Garrett's like early 20s. I think he was like 19, 20. So thank you guys. Thank you for all the support. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I guess we're doing this a lot more often. So I'm like honestly blown away. These like nightly things have been really cool. I'm like blown away by the support and it's been really fun. And so it's been a really cool thing to add, and I'm excited to do them. Thank you guys for all the support. I appreciate you. Go out and do something nice for someone. Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.